5 years ago, the U.S. brought leaders from Israel, Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain together to sign the Abraham Accords. I'm Megan Alexander, and this is Middle East Tomorrow. Go to partners.foxnews.com/Met. Hi, I'm Megan Alexander, and this is Middle East Tomorrow. 5 years ago, the U.S. brought leaders from Israel, Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain together to sign the Abraham Accords. That historic day ignited a cross-border movement of changemakers who are joining forces to reshape the region. Join me as I uncover the stories of the people transforming the Middle East today and tomorrow. Go to partners.foxnews.com/Met.
Live from New York, it's a show that finally beat a playoff team. My goodness gracious. The Patriots finally played a playoff team.
Congrats, KW. It's a monumental moment.
It's a good win.
Wow.
It's a good win, and it's like you'll always remember your first.
Playoff win?
Drake May's first playoff win. It's like a real moment.
First everything.
Yeah. That was great. I was legit happy for you.
Thanks, guy. Well, why were you sending sarcastic text?
Well, because you needed a little comeuppance, and you got it. Because Drake May looked like he felt like the game was a little different than normal. Yeah.
He played
shaky for a
bad
half.
for him.
Shaky for a half.
A B minus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
That's about fair.
Yeah, that's right.
About fair. The W. That's all that matters.
Congratulations.
Feeling good. First hour, first things first. Today, things fall apart in Philadelphia. Champs are done. What's the fallout? Who could have seen that coming, huh?
That's your other team.
I know, but I kind of
totally
saw this. The writing was on the wall since, let me see, week 1 against Dallas. Meanwhile, Caleb with yet another amazing comeback. These cheese graters are just fantastic. How long can the Bears' magic last? All the way to the Super Bowl? And finally, Patriots win their first non-Brady playoff game this century. Are we on the doorstep of destiny? I was talking about, you know what, Gianna? Can we make a, do you mind if I just talk to Gianna about different projects?
Whatever.
Can we make a doorstep of destiny compilation like Bruce Misdirections? Ooh, that wouldn't be good. That would be great! Alongside.
See, there we go.
Hard.
You're back, buddy. It's good to have you back.
I feel great.
Good to have you back.
We're starting with the former champs. They fall and they are not getting back up. Philly done after, believe it or not, the offense sputters and stalls. Jalen threw for 168, completed fewer 15-yard passes than Juwan Jennings, who does not play quarterback. Great in high school.
Yeah,
4-star.
4-star. Ahead of Burrow and Lamar coming out of high school.
Was he?
Yes.
Yeah. And Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
14 wins.
Yeah.
Here's Nick Sirianni. Take a listen.
Felt like that was kind of our story as the year progressed, and like you said, good first half. Didn't do a good enough job coaching. Didn't do a good enough job executing in the second half. Those are things that we always work our off to try to fix any situation and every situation that we can. And you know what? At the end of the day, we didn't do a good enough job of doing that. And that starts with me.
First 3 drives, I'm like, yeah, Eagles flipped the switch. The 49ers defense is very gettable. Saquon's back. 182 total yards.
Yeah.
No punts.
It did look like that.
13 points in the first 3 drives. Rest of the game, 6 points.
Where, yeah.
125 total yards. 4 punts. Nick, are you surprised the Eagles came up short?
I do not know how anyone who has watched the NFL all year could be surprised by this. They might be disappointed. It might be not what you predicted was going to happen, but not like, I am shocked that a team that for 4 months couldn't score more than 20 points against a playoff team, that for 4 months had a bad passing game, that for 4 months was getting the play in late to where the operation was hurried at the line of scrimmage, and for a couple years has had a real problem with their wide receiver one's combustibility, would play a playoff game where they don't score 20 points, where they get the plays in late, where they have no continuity to the passing game, and where the wide receiver and the head coach, for no reason whatsoever, get into it on the sideline. The Eagles' offense if I may, we're back with banners, but banners are kind of a Chiefs thing, so if I may, a little homage to the previous defending Super Bowl champs. The Eagles' offense, failing them again, never a doubt. I don't know how anybody could watch how the Eagles' season came to an end and be surprised that that's how it came to an end. And I think, Brew, that the biggest reason for optimism about the Eagles in this game was more about pessimism about their opponent's defensive ability.
Yes, that's
it
fair.
wasn't. I don't think many people thought that, you know what, they're definitively going to flip a switch, playoff mode. It's that maybe they would do that, but even if they didn't do that, the Niners are so banged up and so undermanned that they're not going to be able to slow them down. But as it turns out, no matter how undermanned you are, if the guy calling the defense is Bob Saleh and the guy calling the offense is Kev Patullo, and the guy executing it is what was this year I think a struggling at times Jalen Hurts and a guy who couldn't fix it on his own, you're going to score 13 to 19 points week in, week out, and you got to hope that's enough.
Yeah, they had so many advantages. That's what surprised me.
Oh, wow. Oh, Patriots time already. I apologize. I'm sorry. Oh, wow.
That is unbelievable.
I'm sorry.
We don't.
No.
That's not on the rundown.
We're not going to allow this. This is. What is he doing?
Patriots coverage coming up in about 15 minutes, okay? Right now, back to the Eagles, gentlemen. Thank you very much. 15 minutes to the Patriots. There's going to be a new Super Bowl champ. Okay. The Eagles are not going to repeat. Gentlemen, you can play us off again. I apologize to you. They go off on their own. Pups, can you grab the door? Yeah. Guys, you can take us off. I apologize. We've been interrupting you guys.
I don't think you do.
I apologize.
I don't think you do.
15 minutes.
That was
coverage of the team of the century.
I didn't know that was
back.
happening.
Patriots are back. But right now, we need to regroup. We need to regroup and talk about the Eagles. We're on the Eagles
I was
right now.
fully prepared for that to happen as soon as I started talking about the Patriots.
I'm sorry.
But not the Eagles.
Sorry. Back to the Eagles.
But the thing, you're right, it's not shocking. But I said last week, this would be a devastating loss.
It was devastating. I agree with that.
Because the Niners, just the talent level because of the injuries is so much in the favor of the Eagles. They're at home where they were 5-0 under Sirianni. And then with George Kittle going down.
Yeah.
But as you said, it showed that both teams did what they've been doing all year.
Yeah.
The Niners executed tremendously, got creative. The coaching staff maximized their players, and they played with heart and guts, made big plays. The Eagles played a half. Now, obviously, they didn't light it up in the first half. But all year long, they have, in their best games, it's been one really good half and one bad or mediocre half. Starting from day one, the Cowboys, week one, they come out, look great in the first half. Second half, Cowboys end up making it a game. The Rams, the Buccaneers, some of their best wins, that was the case. I did think Jalen would play better, because he's been so good in big moments. But it also came down to this, Nick, and this might be the absolute reason they lost this game. Their stars did not make plays.
Oh, I knew
and
this
the
was
Niners
coming.
stars did.
Oh, I knew
and
was going to get A.J. Brown.
No, he is a great player. But when you make such a stink about getting the ball, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't. I think we have video. You can't drop that. Now, it's not an awesome pass. It didn't hit him right in the numbers or anything. But when you're one of the best receivers in the league and you talk all the time about wanting the football, you can't drop that. Now, if you don't make noise about it, people will overlook it. But you can't drop that, and that's a big moment.
And he had, listen, he
had a few.
Right, that was the worst one.
Yeah.
The one down the sideline would have been a really good catch, but he didn't.
But
that
you
one
do
right there
kinda
was
expect
devastating.
a player of his, not that
Yeah,
every
of
player,
course.
you always make those, but even you said the tough catches. A player of his, now this one was a little out of
A little
reach.
short, but still
Yeah.
catchable.
I mean, that's a tough one, but
He was awful.
yeah, and again, you can't.
This is the one I was.
Yeah, this is it. Now, a player as good as him, the best receivers in the league, make this catch most of the
He
time.
makes that catch most of the time. I think that one that we're showing right here, this third down key
That was
drop,
with about 2 minutes left.
and I
little
think
over
that was
2
the
minutes.
only target he got after he and Sirianni yelled at each other. Like that, after that happened, he was gone from the game.
That can't happen. Devontae Smith dropped a pass with 48 seconds left.
Devontae again.
It was a little tough too, but again, these are
But
great
you
receivers.
feel like that is
Here's the
less
one from Devontae.
objectionable because
he knew he was going to get stuck.
and because he's been a great teammate all year.
Yes, and
He
that's
hasn't
why
been
you can
demanding,
right,
Guys are
exactly.
going to make mistakes. It's if we were on a roll on shows, just doing the thing we do, and I out of nowhere was like, if you don't go to me to start the next show, I'm gonna flip out, and then that would never happen. And then you do, and I freeze
And you
up and don't know
stumble,
what to say, and like that. It's
Absolutely.
worse than if you just do it naturally. And I just don't have my nicotine patch on that.
Is there anything to the fact that guys were dropping balls all weekend? All weekend guys had drops, but now it feels like A.J. Brown's drops were magnified because
of what Nick
Sirianni.
said.
I don't view it as all A.J. Brown, though.
You think Sirianni was yelled
I just
at
feel
him?
like Sirianni never got, not control's not the right, he never was able to put out the brush fires that were always percolating on the team.
Well-
and now it got to this magnified moment, and A.J. drops one, and then I feel like he gets in his head, and I think one drop can lead to another. I don't know.
But
I
in
put a lot of it on
fairness,
Sirianni. And I know
over
that
the last few weeks, it wasn't really a lot of noise made about that. I mean, we just remember it from obviously last year, but in the beginning of this season. And then A.J. started putting up numbers even as they were losing, and it kind of went away.
Do you think this was an indictment on Jalen Hurts?
I don't think it was an indictment on Jalen Hurts, but it was this whole season was a step backwards.
Definitely.
And so it doesn't mean he can't, continue on what was a very odd but Hall of Fame trajectory.
Yeah.
But it does mean that some of doesn't matter how it looks, that guy just wins and figures it out. Sheen wears off a bit. Now, but Jalen, to me, had earned a much larger benefit of the doubt than the other main characters involved. I think this is a disaster of a season for Nick Sirianni. And listen.
You think, I don't think he's getting fired.
I do not think he's getting fired.
They need to get a better OC, and then we'll see.
If they did fire him, I would not come on TV and say that's outrageous. And there are 8 jobs open. I do not think he would get one of them.
Well,
I think he'd be in the running.
I think he'd be in the the nervousness about firing your head coach is like, man, you fire John Harbaugh.
Okay,
5 teams is going
second.
you fire Matt LaFleur. 6 is a team might fire their coach to hire him. That I do not believe would happen to Nick Sirianni. And where I think Nick Sirianni deserves blame is Kevin Petullo was his guy. He needed to make the hard decision and move on from him.
And it was never working. It
was never working.
It didn't work from the get-go.
If you weren't going to get your arms around A.J. Brown, then you needed to tell Howie Roseman, we need to trade this guy at the deadline. They now regret that. I'm certain of it.
Well, I think that they should certainly look into trading A.J. this summer. And look, I'm not tripping over the sideline argument. Stuff happens. I mean, I don't think that. I'm serious.
I'm not
that
tripping
stuff
over.
happens.
Listen, I didn't trip over.
I don't think it's a big deal.
It didn't happen this weekend.
It happened. You mean with other teams? I'm not saying it happens every game.
I just saw a love fest.
But every time two guys get in an argument,
I mean, I can't kill it because
like
Andy and Travis
I mean,
had
come
an
on.
assault
Stuff
on the
happens.
sideline. But Travis then made big plays and they won. Like sometimes it's, that is what it is. Like
I think I'm surprised you're giving him a pass.
I mean,
bro.
I'm giving Sirianni
I'm just
more
saying
of a
I
pass
don't
than AJ,
automatically
the other way
know
around.
that is they hate each other.
No.
because of that.
I just don't-
that stuff happens. I
That
don't
is
even want
not
to bring.
a winning culture, though. You can't show me this is.
Nick just talked about how it happened with Travis Kelce and
That was a
Andy
one-off.
Reid.
That was a one-off.
So I don't-
weird
Did
thing.
Tom Brady ever go off on teammates?
Yeah, but Bill
Yes.
Belichick is not Nick Sirianni.
So that's the thing.
No, Brady.
So
Brady
went
off
I
on teammates.
I know, but Sirianni and your coach, it's just weird leadership.
His issue, Brew, is not with the interaction happening. It's that the head coach initiated it. That part I understand.
Well, he now whether it's true, Sirianni said he was telling him get off the field. Just because it was a delay of game or time.
Hey, watch out, we're going to punt. Get off the field.
Here's what we do know, though, KW.
I mean,
Oh, another banner?
Listen, defending your title is not for everybody. We just know it. Hey, not everyone's. Listen,
checked these?
some teams
Nick,
can make defending
Nick,
their title.
No.
I'm just telling you.
No.
Listen, I'm sorry.
Because the Eagles lost, the Chiefs did not.
What
the
do you
Chiefs
mean?
Get
Chiefs
any
didn't
W.
even make the playoffs.
No,
this year.
it does. It does. Hold on. Hold on a second.
They don't
Who's
really
the only
deserve one
team
banner.
to go back-to-back in the last 20 years? Still the Chiefs? Is that record going to stay
That's
intact this
fine.
year? I'm just curious. I'm just saying some teams
you're reaching
some
on
teams
this.
win a Super Bowl and then either go back and lose or win the next Super Bowl. Your Patriots, that's who they were. They would win the Super Bowl, go back the next year, win it or lose it. That's who they were.
But
that's
nobody was mistaking the Eagles for the Chiefs or Hurts for Mahomes or Sirianni.
now
Well,
you're
maybe you
falling
were.
into it.
I don't know.
Sirianni for Andy Reid. What's the next banner?
I don't have any more.
That's for San Francisco. CMC had 2 touchdowns. Purdy threw 2 to Quinyon. Mitchell's not on his team, but did generate enough offense to make it work. Juwan Jennings to CMC there. What was the number one reason, Brew, the 49ers won in your mind?
Well, I'm going to go back to what I said with the Eagles. The Eagles' big names did not play well and make the big plays. We saw some of the drops, and the Niners did. And even some of their non-big names.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Robinson
Chiefs
out
legend,
of
Super Bowl
nowhere.
champion.
Okay.
Right, he was with the Chiefs. But this dude has played 10 years.
Yeah.
Only 2 times in his career, his 10-year career, had he ever caught more than 100 yards receiving, or 100 yards even receiving. Yeah. He had 111, I think, yesterday, and obviously got the game off on a great route way for the Niners in his first play where he had
58 yards.
58 yards, several of it yards after catch. So he stepped up, made some other big plays. Christian McCaffrey, only kind of like his season, 15 carries, 48 yards, 3 yards a carry.
Yep.
He was just kind of like the workhorse that breaks them down a little bit, and then had the 2 receiving touchdowns. And the one off the Juwan Jennings throw was a great catch. Some receivers, I'm not saying they
the Willie
couldn't make
Mays
that
style
catch,
almost,
but
yeah.
some receivers may have dropped that ball.
Look at
And
Brock
for a
ready to
running
block
back,
there, too.
and give Jennings credit because he knew he was going to get hammered.
Yeah.
For a
Also, is that
non-quarterback,
roughing the passer?
I know. For the record,
I don't think it was.
What in the world?
I don't blame
I didn't like
Jalen
that
Carter there because it's like, wait, he's not the quarterback.
How
I
many
know he's
quarterbacks
throwing
can
the
we
ball.
have?
Right.
No, that's true.
That
right?
would have been like
I can clock this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
CMC
He's running.
It ended
But
up
it's
not
still,
mattering
even if it
because
was
he
a
caught it.
quarterback.
But imagine if that pass is dropped. And it's like 15 yards automatic first down. I'd be livid, but that ended up not mattering.
so
just pretend to pass at any point.
they both step up. And even Jennings, look, we know he was a 4-star quarterback in high school, but still, to throw that ball, he threw a dime knowing he's about to get nailed. And how about Juszczyk?
Amazing.
When Kittle went out, he became one of their main targets, and he made some great catches. But I got to give some credit to Brock Purdy. And seriously, I know he threw the 2 picks. He's a gunslinger. He throws in the tight windows. Most of the times it works. Some of the times it doesn't, and that's when he gets his interceptions. But he came back from it, obviously led the game-winning drive. And here's the thing with Purdy, and I said it last week. He's never had he hadn't been great in all of them. He hasn't had a bad playoff game in 7 games. And he's 5-2. In his 5 wins, Nick, 4 of them game-winning drives. And here's the graphic. There's two guys with multiple game-winning drives since 2022 when Purdy entered the league.
Pretty good.
Mahomes with 5, Purdy with 4. No one else has even 2. So the dude, you know, and his mobility is a big key too. You saw it yesterday.
Buckle up.
Being able to
Get your helmets on for this one. You're not going to believe it.
You killing Purdy?
I'm tipping my cap to Purdy.
Games
Games like yesterday make me open to changing my mind. What? I'm telling you.
What is it, 3 years?
Why are you laughing at me?
3 years,
No,
a Super Bowl
I'm
appearance,
open to it.
4 game-winning drives in the
Guys,
playoffs. You're open to it?
open
So
to it.
much so, I made an even, not a better, but a different complimentary Purdy graphic. Because what's the knock on Shanahan? You can't, if you are trailing
Down
in
the
the
fourth.
fourth, you're dead.
Yeah.
You are dead.
Yeah.
And that to me has always been about he has had civilians, not superheroes at quarterback. So if it's on script and everything's rolling, but if it's like, man, got a pass situation, what are you going to do? Can't do it. Purdy's been able to do it. So
And yesterday he did it without any Avengers
this,
except McCaffrey.
under Shanahan, down entering the fourth quarter, all the other quarterbacks are 6-36. Purdy's won 4 games like that. I understand 4-14 looks bad. That's not bad. Like, that is the only Brady and Mahomes in league history are even close to 500 or above. Mahomes is above, Brady's right around it. For trailing entering the fourth quarter.
Out of all the awesome graphics.
But look at the bottom. Hold on, look at the bottom.
2 wins.
He now has 2 wins and down 6+. Everyone else is 0-30. Every other Shanahan, that's what I'm talking about. Shanahan quarterback.
And Shanahan, that's like you said, that's been
so
the
that,
knock on
like yes, he made mistakes, but that guy is fearless, and one of the reasons he throws those picks is because he believes in himself so much, which can be a problem. But because he believes in himself so much, he's like, we're fine. And so I think that plus what is, I think, the greatest coaching season in Shanahan's career is why they're still here.
We'll see how far they can go.
And look, he's never, every time he's made the playoffs, he's gotten at least to the conference championship.
Yep.
All right, we got to head to Chicago. Bears with yet another magical comeback. 7th win of the year when they were down with 2 minutes to go or in overtime. Caleb manufactures 25 fourth quarter points. Danny Parkins was in the building. Here's Caleb.
They wanted us. That's what I heard. They wanted it, and they got it.
Ooh, old classic. What did Caleb prove?
Listen, he's, at the very least, moving forward, he's the best quarterback in that division. And pending if Matt Stafford retires, all think he's the best quarterback in his conference.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he is. You can maybe you guys can say that's too far, but I believe
the fourth quarter, yeah.
I believe he's only going to get better. And the things he is great at, you can't teach. The things he's shaky at, I think, are the easiest to teach. Yeah. And the things we were worried about, like maturity, leadership, his teammates love him. I thought he gave the single most cogent on-field post-game interview I can remember. It was like 4 minutes long.
You know, had that ready to go.
Right, but it just showed. I thought his post-game.
You didn't think like the I know it's all plays great because they won, but he looked very frustrated.
I do think he is very emotional. And he can ride that emotional roller coaster. But I think he will improve on that.
Okay.
And it is, to me, he is now on the trajectory of what his trajectory was when he was drafted. Generational #1 pick. Because this play on 4th and 8, Brew, it might be the single, it is in the running for best, given the context of it. If he doesn't hit the throw, they lose the playoff game. They ended up winning it. The difficulty of it, all of it, it's as good of a throw as a player's made since I've been doing this show.
It's a great throw.
And
so to drop it in there, between 3
it's impossible.
Packers.
Yeah.
And so I am, and their ability to be down double digits, it's a dangerous way to do business.
Often.
But they're 3-3 now, down 10 in the final 5 minutes of a game. Yeah. The rest of the league is 3-1-59. And so that's some Caleb.
That's an incredible
some
number.
It's
not all him, but it's
no. You don't.
He takes advantage of the opportunities.
It's
though.
a dangerous way to do business, but he's so remarkably gifted. And he's learning how to do the other stuff. Like, they don't have the process errors anymore. The pre-snap stuff. Right. They cleaned it up. He's still inaccurate.
He's very inaccurate and misses some, like he only
Layups.
completed 50% of his passes. Some of his throws you like, but he is dynamic. And this is a huge compliment for me. Late in that game, I felt a feeling like it's generally been reserved for Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Like when it was late, I felt like, man, they're about to score.
Yep.
They're about to score. And I think you can argue, Nick, and this is why I wouldn't say he's definitely the best quarterback in the division yet, because I think Jordan Love was fantastic with the 4 touchdowns.
He was great.
Almost 300 yards. And even though I think it's arguable who will be better next year, we'll see. Certainly Caleb is more dynamic and his ceiling is higher. But Jordan has played great this year and was great yesterday or over the weekend. But I didn't feel that way with him having that ball in that last drive. It's not all Jalen, but I didn't feel like I didn't think they were going to score. And maybe they will, and we'll see. And I'm hoping, because that was my team, my pick in the preseason. But Caleb, I felt like they're scoring. And so he is clutch. And that is something, I mean, whether it's basketball, we've seen Reggie Miller, Robert Ory, in football, Mahomes, like some guys just have that, and he obviously has it. And Nick, if he does, which you would think he will, because of the great improvement he's made this year, if he loves Ben Johnson. We saw in the locker room, he praised Ben Johnson for what he's done for him. If he just can nail down the little things, then Patrick Mahomes, like that type of player, I'm not going to put him on Mahomes level, but that you always said 2.0, that type of player, he looks like
the stuff he's great at cannot be taught.
He's best at the tough throws.
Yeah,
he throws a cannon, and that's why.
Flick of the wrist that has the power of anybody's throw. The only downside to this is you guys don't know what a generationally bad winner Danny Parkins can be. He has no experience with team success. He was out here. Let's see.
Danny, you're on it.
Danny,
you're on at 5.
Your show's in 90 minutes.
You're on at 5.
Not even looking at the camera. This guy on Callherd's show today, he's feeling himself so much.
Chicago
said
Bears.
He thinks the Pope watches his clips.
The Pope?
That's what he said. This is what he said. That's how he's feeling himself.
Pope Leo is Pope Bob from the South Side. He went to the World Series for the White Sox, so it stands to reason.
Danny's clips.
Then he was listening to my highly rated show on The Score back in the day. Brew, by the way, Chicago says, what up?
Chicago, great win.
I mean, this guy's wearing sunglasses inside and at night.
Sunglasses
you said never a doubt, which is a Chiefs thing.
Have you seen the Blues Brothers? It's dark and we're wearing sunglasses. We're on a mission from God. We got the Pope on our side. And by the way, is there a clicker for me?
Yes, it's over here.
Yeah, it's over here. It's over
here. Out here with no.
I got a banner. I got a little something for you.
You dope.
I'm standing all right, well, sorry. I thought it was going to be over here. He played, okay? Here's the thing. Greatness. You compared him to Mahomes, Reggie Miller.
That felt the Reggie stuff.
No, but I was playing off of Nick saying.
No, I understand, but
he's not Mahomes.
In the history of basketball, who do you want taking a shot late? A GOAT.
MJ.
What is this one?
Caleb, his airness, and a trio of Chicago goats. Because I told you so. What did Caleb prove? That I was right.
This guy.
A goat.
Buddy, roll the animation. That's
a Chicago goat,
Get
baby.
out of here.
Caleb, Mike, and me.
That's too far.
That's too far.
That's what I said. I didn't go far enough. I didn't go far enough. Bear down, baby.
Okay. Are the Patriots on the door of destiny? Next. That was good, Danny. Certainly good.
Oh, you sound so surprised.
This is really funny.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. Finding a home is like dating. You're not just looking for a place to live, you're searching for the one. That's where Realtor.com comes in. Like any good matchmaker, they know exactly where to look. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, you could find your perfect match today. Ranch style with a pool, barn dominium with an in-law suite? Realtor.com's got 'em. Modern craftsman with a big yard and a treehouse out back? Realtor.com will have you saying, yep, that's the one. No more swiping. It's time to start finding. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pro's #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
I have great news for you. We are under 20 million views to 1 billion views on YouTube. Gianna's job, almost assuredly safe. It's like having a huge lead in Packers-Bears, for example. Like, only
Gianna,
it would be shocking.
Keep your bags packed.
To 1 billion.
I'm just telling you, it's by Super Bowl Sunday. How many days till Super Bowl Sunday? 20. We're at 19 million.
I'm telling you.
Gianna, it's going to be tight.
We got to keep pushing.
It's going to be tight.
We got to keep
Fun
pushing.
fact. Did you know that the
tight.
Patriots have only beaten 3 playoff teams? My goodness. The third being the Chargers last night, who some people said they wanted the Patriots. Well, okay. I wanted you to score more than 3 points. Poor Drake didn't look like his MVP self. My goodness gracious. Still had 340 total yards, dominated. Dominate's probably a little much. Regardless. Here he is, post-game.
We never doubted it. We never doubted it. You know, it didn't look, it wasn't pretty, that's for sure. But this defense was so fun to watch. Congrats to them, man. It was so fun to watch. They won the game for us. I didn't throw it very well tonight. Need to be better. But we did what we had to do, and that's what it takes in the playoffs. And just proud of this team. That was fun, man. That was fun to get one at home, and look forward to be back here next week.
I agree it was fun. I do not think you should keep trying to throw the ball when guys are grabbing your jersey. First half, not great. Yeah. I started to get some mean tweets. Kept my cool, kept my composure. Second half, passer rating shot up to 142. He didn't run the ball as much, but he had some back-breaking plays. Greg, question to you. Is it time to admit the Patriots are a scary squad? Because a long time we weren't getting any respect, the schedule.
Yeah, I was giving the team respect. Look, they're a scary team.
Thank you, Greg. Love it. That was good, though. I agree with that. That was good.
Sorry. This thing on Sports TV. You gotta stop answering. You gotta just let him do his thing.
You did it to me. You pointed. Go to Greg.
I didn't know he was going to do it.
He got me earlier.
Sorry, Greg, you have always supported Drake May, so I appreciate it. We're on the doorstep of destiny, fellas. Welcome back. Greg, as you were.
Look, they've been a scary team. I think the number one thing you talked about, we looked at their schedule and who they didn't play and the teams that they weren't on their schedule and that they didn't have an opportunity to play, and we measured them according to that. The reality is, in that locker room, they believe that they have one of the best teams in football. And so regardless of who was going to be coming in this weekend, they felt like they had a great chance because of the guy under center. We see the numbers to support what he was in the first half, second half. I absolutely loved what we saw. Ooh. Him actually showing a little bit of adverse situation. Yeah. It got a little shaky, a little, oh my gosh, is Drake going to actually be bad? And then he overcame it. The defense, something that you've alluded to, in the red zone. How about this, Wiles?
I was shocked.
Gave up nothing.
I don't know what happened.
It was the opposite of what you
said. It was the absolute
We are not
opposite.
good in the red zone, and we are not good getting to the quarterback. Great in the red zone, great at getting to the quarterback.
It was a phenomenal game to watch. This was a team that came out almost as if Vrabel leaned into the fact that, guys, this is what's being said about us. We got to go and prove that this is not the case, that we are not good enough because of who we've played. And this is a team that set their starters, set their quarterback, and acted like we want you.
Loved it.
We can beat you. And so let's go and show them that this is not what they want. And they did that.
So, listen, I agree with the vast majority of that because there were 2 teams this weekend whose star quarterbacks played poorly by their standards, and they won anyway. And that makes those teams scarier.
Yeah.
The Rams and the Pats, to me. Unless you think that's who those quarterbacks are going to be the rest of the playoffs, you're like, it's a bad game, or in May's case, butterflies, whatever it was, because I disagree with you guys a bit about, in the second half he fixed it. Because they're up 13 and the game's over unless you turn the ball over, and Drake fumbled again.
Yeah.
And it could have the only thing that could have got the Chargers back in the game was a scoop score, and it was right there, and you guys fell on it. Like, it was and we can show Drake's numbers compared to his season averages, what Brew and I were a little worried about. That he would have one of, if not his worst game of the season to start the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's now like, okay, that's who he's going to be next week. I think it was first playoff game jitters, all those things. And you guys won anyway, which makes your team scarier. So that's a long way of saying Brew and I were right and you were wrong. But it makes your team more dangerous, in my opinion.
I'll take that.
Look, I'm with Greg. I liked what I saw from Drake, man. And he did have to fight through adversity, struggled a bit early. That's good for him. I think that, especially when you win, and his running, and we all knew he could run. You had the Michael Vick graphics and all that last year.
Oh, yeah.
But he ran when he wasn't passing it well, he ran the ball well. And then, of course, he makes throws the dime to Hunter Henry to seal the game. But I thought he learned a lot just over the course of the game. Now, look, I agree with you guys. The pressure, they sacked Herbert 6 times. They obviously were tough in the red zone. I'm definitely going to give them credit for that, and certainly they're dangerous. You look at the field, if you won this weekend in the AFC, you're dangerous.
Yes.
I mean, the Bills, a lot of people, even though the Patriots are favorite, might think the Bills, but they beat the Bills. They're 1-1 with the Bills, and the game is in Foxborough. And then the other two teams, you got questions about the quarterbacking.
Yeah.
All the three
teams.
Yeah, and the offense, Pittsburgh, Houston, Denver. Yeah. The question is, can they score? Now, I do think I did not like some of the play calling by the Chargers in the red zone. I mean, they want to turn Justin Herbert into a running back. Like it was, so some of it
had him running the
was
Trey
on
Lance
them.
Package.
Yeah, some of it was on them, but still, you guys deserve credit, and it was impressive.
That was a career high for Drake running. 10 rushes,
was
career
that?
High, 66 yards.
That was
most,
his career high.
Greg, I want to give you as a Super Bowl champion, and I am flag football champion, so a little champion to champion talk. I want to get a vibe check on something that hit my radar. We saw everybody's, post-game quarterback interviews, one-on-one with the quarterback. How'd you do? This and that. I want to show you the picture of the Patriots post-game. This is a 6-person post-game interview from Mike Reese. For those who watch the NBC on Field interview, Drake May, Hunter Henry, Chase On, and Waynu, Garrett Bradbury, Morgan Moses were there due to May's request. Won the entire O-line there, but Will Campbell and Jared Wilson had
What's
departed
up with Will
quickly.
Campbell and Jared Wilson? They don't mess with it?
No, they had to leave.
You can look at that both ways.
So, look, between that, Mike Vrabel bleeding, the end of the game, there just seems, granted they're my team, so I think it's a special team. Yeah. But is there anything hitting your vibes meter of like, wow, this team really supports each other and loves
Look, they obviously are supporting each other. It doesn't hit my meter. I think it's a good sign that he's understanding that it's not just about him. It's about us as the collective. And if he continues to do that, which he needed his team. He alluded to that in this post game. Mm-hmm. Like, he needed the team to step up because he wasn't at his absolute best. But it's a good sign. You can love it. I don't read too deep into it.
It's okay. You can just tell him.
I'm high on this team.
Like,
some OKC vibes.
I know.
I'm surprised you
year.
didn't. Yeah,
Gentlemen, do you mind playing us off again, please? Thank you. Watch out, Nick.
I'm fine.
Let me just lay out for a while. Welcome back. As for the Chargers, they rested last week. They wanted to head to New England. Didn't work out. Herbert got sacked 6 times, lost a fumble, managed 207 total yards of offense, and that included a fumble that turned into a first down. Here's Herbert postgame.
We just have to be able to score, and we didn't do that today. And that's on us as an offense. When we get those opportunities, we have to do everything we can to get the ball in the end zone. It wasn't good enough today, and I didn't play well enough and didn't make any plays. And when it mattered most, we didn't score any points. We have to do better than 3 points, and as an offense, it's not good enough. And the quarterback play wasn't good enough, and we let the defense down today.
Tough one. Fair to put this loss on Herbert?
Yeah. It's 10 straight quarters of F- quarterback play in the playoffs by Justin Herbert. This is what it is. I mean, the first good news, well, I guess second good news after Harbaugh getting fired for Lamar in the last couple months. He's no longer the face of shaky playoff quarterbacking from a quarterback that, in Lamar's case, we know is great.
It's far better than
It's
Herbert.
exactly right. But, like, if people talk about, like, playoff shrink, alleged superstar quarterback Lamar, it's not alleged. If Lamar had been the face of it for a lot of people, he's not. And again, this can change, but the fact that it can change in the future doesn't mean it's not a reality right now. Right now, here's where Justin Herbert is in NFL history amongst quarterbacks with at least 3 playoff starts in passer rating. Dalton's the worst, then Herbert, Brad Johnson, Carson Palmer, Rex Grossman. Palmer at least had one good run late in his career, which again is to say it can happen. And when I asked for this graphic, I didn't know Andy Dalton. It was going to be Dalton Herbert 1-2. But we have said for a long time, we're talking about Mahomes and Allen and Lamar, like who's Brady, who's Manning, who's Big Ben of this era. Somebody's also got to be Andy Dalton. And this might sound outrageous because Herbert's 6'6" and has a rocket arm. Here's Andy Dalton and Justin Herbert through 6 years. Now, Herbert's better, but he has a worse record. Same in the playoffs. Team points per game, same. Yards per game goes to Herbert. Yards per pass, Dalton. Again, Herbert is better. But the way it is discussed, he is not discussed like he is a rich man's Andy Dalton until the playoffs when he is just Andy Dalton. And I understand it is always someone else's fault, and the offensive line, particularly in the fourth quarter, was a train wreck. But the flip side to that is this. Literally, no quarterback in NFL history has had their defense force more takeaways in a 3-game playoff losing streak than Justin Herbert has in his. In the last quarter century, no quarterback has lost 3 straight playoff games with their defense forcing 5 turnovers, other than Chad Pennington. Herbert's has forced 10. That's the most in the last.
Of course, Trevor gave him a lot.
Okay, well, whatever it is. I'm saying extra possessions, but still, extra possessions.
I'm joking.
And if we took it to the entirety of NFL history, Herbert's number 1 as well. Number 2, Brew, I didn't do it because I want to do it to your guy. Burt Jones with 9. That Burt Jones fella just showed up a lot of these Justin Herbert playoff.
I know
Burt Jones was an MVP,
but like
I
you have to. You're at the, I think the 8-yard line when Drake gave you the ball.
Yeah,
like you have to score there.
And so I am, again, like Greg, I am not saying he is the biggest problem with the team, but he is the superstar who is the reason people believe in the team. Yeah. And for 3 straight playoff games, at least 2.5, straight, he has been totally unproductive. I don't know what else you can say about it.
Yeah, look, you make a strong argument, and those are facts. The reality for the Chargers and our organization is we have Justin Herbert. We believe Justin Herbert is good enough for us to overcome some of the things that we are not going to have, some of the weaknesses, some of our voids. And that's just not been the case in the postseason. Watching that game yesterday, it is very difficult for me to sit here and put it all on Justin Herbert. Knowing what I, as a receiver, and forget the offensive line. We know the offensive line. Mm-hmm. From a receiving standpoint, tell me a guy that was creating any form of separation yesterday.
I was shocked that we had it.
It was unreal. And you cannot do that to your quarterback. I'm not going to give anybody a pass, but Keenan Allen, a little longer in the tooth. Okay, that acceptable if you want to say that. Lad McConkey, no, exactly, the drops. Lad McConkey, no separation. It was poor. Quentin Johnson, where was he?
But here's can I just on that real quick? There was, and I should have him pull the tape. On one of the Herbert scrambles to the right, McConkey is open by a 20-yard radius around him, and at that point they are down 6-3. I understand it'd be one thing if this was a tie or a 3-point or a 6-point game for 2.5 hours before the offensive line totally broke down. You needed your superstar to make one play, including a drive that started inside the 10, and that's like you got to make one play.
I understand that, but we're asking, and again, I'm not a Justin Herbert apologist. Like, he is not exempt.
That's 5 o'clock hour.
He is not exempt. However, he has to be perfect for this team to have success in the postseason. Yesterday, like it was clear because we can point the finger and we can place blame on the play calling. We can place blame on Justin Herbert. We can place blame on the offensive line after they kind of started to break down. We definitely can place blame on the running game and the receiving. To place blame on Justin Herbert is easy to do because he is their best player. And I'm not saying he is not one to own some of that. But to say he has to overcome it all, it's with that team, knowing what that defense is going to look like against a backup offensive line. Like, look, man, if I get a second or third string defender across from me, you know how I'm going to feel?
Uh-oh.
Let's
go.
Yeah, and a lot of he got sacked 6 times. And you're right. They protected him fairly well early on. But the sacks, when they started coming in the bunches, those weren't like quarterback. It wasn't his fault. It was the rush and then coverage sacks. I like Ladd McConkey a lot. I felt like, where is he today? Like, I haven't heard his name said once. They really locked him down. I agree. The receivers could not create separation. But here's what I'll say about Herbert. He's not elite. We have to stop, and I don't think you put him in that category right now, but a lot of people view him as elite. Like, we won't put him in the top 4 with those guys, Lamar and Mahomes, et cetera, but he's right after them. We can't put him there right now.
He's falling out of fluid for you?
Well, he's trying to be funny, but no, 5, 6 to I guess he's in the bottom. Now he can get there, but right now with the way he's performing, he's
out.
And I'm like, great. I'm not an apologist like Danny for him, but I do like him. I think he's got great talent. But he looks different in the playoffs. He looked different yesterday. I don't think he looked like he was scared, but he just looked like a different quarterback.
We all knew their offensive line was banged up. If we had told you the Patriots were going to have 2 turnovers and 9 points through 3 quarters, you'd be like, sounds great.
Should be enough.
For the Chargers.
Yeah.
And by the way, 3 of those points were because Herbert gave him an extra possession at the end of the half.
Yeah.
Coming up next, the most wonderful and some of the weirdest plays of the weekend, including Sirianni and A.J. Brown in the playoffs.
God forbid. They got in an argument. Oh, my gosh.
Drew, their season ended.
Josh Allen scores with a minute left, maybe too much time. The Bills hang on once Trevor throws it to the wrong team. Let's listen to Josh in the locker room.
I thought they were against the tush push.
We stay here. We don't blink, all right? We get one more. That's right. That's the reward for doing what we did today. We get one more. Now we got to go earn it again, all right? Love y'all, boys. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Did Josh Allen's performance put the AFC on notice?
To me, yes, and if they weren't already.
Right.
And I don't want to relitigate old arguments, not amongst you guys, but amongst the media at large. But this is why pressure is good.
That's good.
The reason why it was good that it was going to be bad if Josh Allen didn't come through was because that makes a play like this, the 40-yard dart down in this game to try to come back and win, one of the biggest plays of the guy's career.
That's right.
Some folks who wanted this game to be a reputational free roll, like, well, I don't know, guys.
The Jags ran for 160 yards.
The Jags run offense is so good.
Yep.
It's unfair to expect the guy who our dear friend Colin Cowherd calls the most talented player in the history of the league to be able to go into Duval County and win. Like, that pressure is good because when you come through, it has more stickiness to it. It's not just a wild card round victory. And I think that was a great example, Brew, of why the Bills are so scary. Because I don't even look at what Josh did yesterday as going Superman.
No.
I just look at that like, man, that's a good Josh Allen playoff game. Yeah. And I don't know that he made a mistake the whole game.
I was going to say that part. It was so efficient. It was excellent. And what we know them for and to be offensively, to lean into the run game, it was the worst output they've had all season. Obviously, we know who the Jags are up front, but if you look at the numbers, they suggest this is what they did on Sunday with the running back, with James Cook, who obviously rushing title leader, fewest rush yards, yards per rush, fewest rush attempts, fewest. Like, they did this without their typical running game. And Josh, when they typically don't have a running game like this, what do we expect Josh to do? Exactly what you said he didn't do. Superman. He didn't do it. He didn't give you the turnovers. He didn't give you the added unnecessary running that was throwing his body around. Now, he was banged up a little bit, but it was methodical. It was, I'm going to just continue to take what they're giving me, and when the time comes, he makes the play that's needed and that we all expect him to make, because the pressure is going to remain because he is the best player in the playoffs remaining. So Josh Allen, great performance for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, the AFC already had to be on notice. You know, he's clearly the best quarterback left in the conference, so they were already on notice. But I thought what was so impressive yesterday, like you said, with Superman mode is like he goes dynamic. I think it was somewhat, I mean, it wasn't Superman because it wasn't dynamic. It was just steady. It was almost like Jordan in the first three-peat is Superman mode, and yesterday Josh Allen was Jordan in the second three-peat. Not quite as dynamic, not as spectacular, but just killing you mid-range here and there, you know, and that's what he did. Yes, he almost threw for 300 yards, and we're saying that's not Superman mode. Ran for 2 touchdowns, you know what I mean? So he just was steady, and Superman mode usually has a couple of mistakes, a couple of wild, reckless plays. He didn't have much of that yesterday, and so he was just steady, and that's what's scary, because it's like, if he can do this without the mistakes, that really will make them scared.
Scared of the Bills yet?
Am I scared of the Bills? Interesting question. A little bit.
Wow!
A little bit.
Wow.
A little bit. There's only, we got 4 teams left.
They are, they will.
Well, let me ask you this real quick.
I'm not scared of the Broncos. I'm not scared of the Steelers.
So that's what I was going to ask you.
Not scared of the Texans.
If Broncos are playing the Bills, let's assume you guys have won. I don't think the game's in that order, but doesn't pretend with.
I'll be rooting for the Broncos.
So you'd rather go to Denver than have the Bills come to your place? All right, you're scared. That's good.
Yeah.
I like it. You're supposed to be. That's good.
We're undefeated. We're undefeated on the road. I'd rather take my shots at Bo Nix.
A struggling offense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay,
Right?
good. You know what?
Josh Allen deserves our respect.
There you go, KW. You've come a long way
all
from
year.
the Bills.
I kind of let you guys get away with the best. He's not the best quarterback in the AFC East, but I mean.
Am I off this segment?
What? No, you're here, bud.
Oh, okay.
You're here, bud.
Caleb's comeback against Greg's Packers next.
It's all you.
Live from New York, it's a show that had to sternly convince Danny Parkins that it was a bad idea to try to put the cheese grater hat on Greg's head unexpectedly.
Bad idea.
I told him.
I'm like, I just don't think. I don't think that's a wise decision.
That's a way to be a leader of a show.
You know, I just
keep everything good.
That's right. He's like, how about brew? I'm like, again.
How
about I bring some cheese on it?
Yeah, he asked me about it.
Unwise. Second hour of First Things First. Today, the Eagles have landed, trademark. Philly's inept offense ends their season. Meanwhile, guess who's the new favorite in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl? Not the Bills. But right now, Greg, I'm sorry, we are contractually obligated to talk about this game. Check in on Greg's Packers. Didn't go great. Nope. Jordan Love had 4 touchdowns. That was good. But Green Bay ran the ball 3 times in the third quarter. Don't need to drain any clock. You're up big. Don't worry about it. Defense fell apart. Here's Matt LaFleur.
Well, obviously, this one is going to hurt for a really, really long time. When you are in complete control of a football game and the script gets flipped in the second half, and it was a lot of self-inflicted things. And give credit to them. We knew they were a team that could come back and fight. I mean, they proved it all season long, and we had opportunities to kind of put them away, and we didn't get it done.
Great. Sorry. What was the story here? The Bears come back.
I'm going to be honest.
Not joking.
The camera's going to come out
I
on it.
wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
What was the story? The Bears come back or the Packers collapse?
It was the Packers collapse. And credit to the Bears. I'm going to say that right out the gate because they forced the Packers collapse.
Okay.
And so I don't agree 100% with what I heard out of Matt LaFleur, being that it was a lot of self-inflicted. The Bears punched you and then continued to punch you, and you stopped punching. I thought in the first half, that first quarter, I was almost ready to text the group. I promise you I was. Not because we were winning or anything like that. Matt LaFleur is on a mission to prove that he's a better player. I'm better. This is personal between myself and Ben.
And Ben seemed like he thought it was personal, and it was screwing up the Bears.
Yep.
He's going for these fourth downs early. They didn't need to.
It was mistakes.
Probably the most impressive play calling and creativity. And you got to have some wrinkles when you're playing a team for the third time. You got to have some wrinkles. I thought they did that. And then the half, they're up obviously 21-3. And I'm not excited, but I'm like, okay. The second half come, and it's like Dennis Allen and that defense says, hey, if we're going to lose, we're going to give them everything we got. Because when you look at what they were doing from a pressure standpoint and what they started doing in that second half, this is what turned the tide. If you look at the numbers, in the first half, 2 pressures. Second half, 10. What did we see in Jordan Love in that offense in the first half? Him sitting back there, just surveying, being special, dissecting everything. In the second half, it was like, look, we can't let them sit back there, make them make an adjustment. They never adjusted. Offensively and defensively, you let Caleb continue to get outside contain, like rush lane integrity. It was the most, it was the most frustrating game to watch all weekend, because to have a lead 21-3 against the Bears, and Danny's in the stands with the cheese grater on his head, I can't wait. I'm like, this is perfect. Yeah. This is perfect. And then Caleb, what they know, this is why what he said, they knew who the Bears were. The late, great Denny Green, the Bears are who we thought they were. The Bears are who we thought they were. Like, we know Caleb is capable of this.
Micah was tweeting, we just got to hold them off. Like, they knew. They knew.
But that means you have to remain aggressive. You have to stick to the script. You got Josh Jacobs, and the running game was effective, and you stop. I'm done. I'm going to pass it to you guys. Because,
good analysis, though.
No, look, I agree. First of all, both stories are huge. I don't want to take anything from the Bears. This is what they do. This is not like this was the first or second time they've done it all year. So I do have to give them credit. They did it 7 times this year, came back like this and won games. So I'll give them credit. But the bigger story is the Packers, because for one, this might have coaching ramifications. Now, all the reporting seems that they're going to stick with Matt LaFleur. Micah has given him a vote of confidence. We saw J-Lo after the game, Jordan Love, give him a vote of confidence. And I really like LaFleur a lot. I think he's a very good coach. This game made me wonder, is he a great offensive coordinator and maybe not a great head coach? Now, where I would stand on him is and I get it, they're in a contractual situation where he wants an extension. He has 1 year left on his deal. I would love to have him for 1 more year at least. And let me see what happens next year. If I'm the Packers brain trust, I'm thinking, let me see what happens next year. If this happens again, we just have to move on. We know he's a good head coach and all that, or play caller stuff. But here's the deal, and I've criticized John Harbaugh on this. They had 3 losses this year where they led by 10 points entering the fourth quarter. No other team in the NFL had more than 1. So this is a pattern with them.
So why do you want to see more of it?
Well, because I do have a lot of
one-off.
respect for his head coach or his play calling.
Yeah.
I give him, maybe I'm giving him more credit than he deserves for Aaron Rodgers' resurrection. Rodgers looked like he was done at the end of Mike McCarthy's tenure. Okay. He comes out under LaFleur, wins 2 MVPs, and I give him credit for developing Jordan Love.
Yeah, and the very little we've seen of Malik Willis.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Like,
so
no,
I like him. Like, quickly, I'll say this. I said with Harbaugh, I was saying, his being there 18 years was a part of my reason why I thought it was time to move on. LaFleur's only been there a few years. I don't think they've tired of his voice. So, look, it's going to be interesting. I would want to keep him for one more year.
Listen, I think the bigger story is the first flag planted of Caleb Williams' arrival. Mm-hmm. I think that has the longer historical tale because I do think Caleb is going to be a great quarterback, and I think that we'll see how this season ends up, ending. But we've talked about that before. We're going to talk about that more. I want to say something about the Packers side of it. Because first of all, the fact that these two teams played 3 times, the Bears won 2 of them, and this graphic about offensive plays run while leading exists is the craziest thing I've ever seen. The Bears won 2 of the 3 games. They ran 0 offensive plays with the lead.
Real.
That's fascinating.
The last 2 ended almost the
that
exact same way.
should not be able to happen.
I mean, that is worth firing somebody.
I mean,
that's what I wondered. Is this so
you would get rid of him?
But it's Falcons Patriots-esque. This is
which
going to
he
have.
was on the staff. He was on the staff.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it doesn't seem like they want to fire him, but it also seems like he wants a big raise. But
tough negotiation.
Here's what
I'm coming in for. How about a little more?
What's so wild? I'll just be very quick. I've never seen a comeback like this in this regard. The Bears were not that good through large stretches of the comeback.
Yes.
They turned it over on a 4th down in the 5-yard line. They got a huge punt return to put them on the plus side. They got 2 yards on the drive. They gave up a touchdown.
Yeah.
During the Packers had 8 drives after going up 21-3. I've never seen, as brilliant as Caleb was overall in the second half, there were a ton of moments watching it where it's like, oh man, if the Bears score here, they could come back. They don't score, and they came back anyway because the Packers gave them the ball back instantly. It was the Packers, after going up 21-3, had 2 missed field goals, 3 3-and-outs, a 5-and-out, the end of the game, and a touchdown.
Extra point.
Which should the missed extra point.
Run the ball. Run the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
You got Josh Jacobs.
Run the ball.
There too.
I mean, a delay a game coming out of timeout. It was things like that was like, what are we doing?
Tough.
And by the way, I'm going to say this last thing really quick.
Yeah.
If everybody comes back healthy, Matthew Golden must stay on the field.
Oh my!
I like that.
Period.
That
Do not take him off the field.
Yeah.
He is the best receiver.
Well,
I thought it was over after that play he made.
Well, yeah. Usually when a team scores a touchdown to go up 11 in the 4th quarter, that usually
of course
ends the
they
game.
missed the extra point.
And the other piece of it, they were 9-3-1. Micah got hurt and they're 0-5. It might just 2 teams thought they were going to have Micah Parsons this year, ended up not having him, and they couldn't win after. So
he's probably pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Sneaky MVP case.
There you go. So,
Meanwhile, in Philadelphia,
exactly.
The Eagles' offense sputters and stalls. The 6th time this year they do not score a touchdown in the second half. It won't be the last. Kittle went down, and Kyle got more creative, having Juwan Jennings hit CMC in the end zone. Here's Kyle in the locker room.
I can't tell you guys how proud of this team I am. You guys, the fact that we had 2 linebackers play that game that weren't on our team a month ago, and not to mention Garrett, Eric, the fact that you guys were ready for that, and not to mention, I think you guys balled your ass off. You guys were all over the place, man. All we asked for was another shot, dude. I wanted another shot. You guys earned that in the best way possible, man.
That's amazing. Did the 49ers win this game, Greg, or do you think the Eagles lost it?
A little bit of both, but I think the 49ers went in there and they won that game. I thought the 49ers, how they came out attacking, and when you take you back a few years, when you've lost to a team and you didn't have your quarterback, and you lose your quarterback in the game, obviously in the NFC Championship game a few years back, you never lose that. You never forget that. And so coming back to this same place where that happened, knowing you're injured, but we've had the success all season long. So we're not going to give ourselves an out. So even losing George Kittle during the game, that's when I thought, this might be over. But they kept doing the same things that they've done all season long. Unheralded guys making plays. You mentioned
Marcus Robinson, juice check.
It's good to have super champion.
It's great to have players who know who they are, and you boost their egos a little bit. And then on the flip side, when you look at the players that didn't make plays for the Eagles, you can't win with it. I tell my kids this all the time. I know how talented you guys are. I expect for everybody to then walk away knowing how talented you guys are because you execute. We know how talented the Eagles are. But when they don't execute, which they haven't in second halves, it's been largely because either the quarterback didn't make the plays, either they couldn't run the ball, or the receivers weren't involved. And somehow, yesterday, every receiver got opportunities. They missed opportunities. The quarterback wasn't great, but he wasn't as bad as the number suggests. So for AJ, Devontae, and I know Devontae doesn't talk a lot, but AJ had a lot of opportunities. And I supported AJ all season long. You got to give him the ball. They tried to give him the ball, and in big moments, he let his team down. And more importantly, he let himself down because he's going to feel that, and we have those moments. But you can't be that when your team is actually making you a part of what we're trying to do. You can't have those moments, and I feel for him because, well, I haven't been there, but I've seen it happen. It happens to the best of us.
This is the killer.
That one
right there, I think they probably win the game.
You can't. You go to your guy. And you, on the flip side, you got Purdy who's thrown the 2 picks. Who is his guy? But everybody seemed to come up with a play.
Craig, real quick, are you saying you haven't been there because you haven't?
I knew you were going to go back.
I had a game with multiple drops?
No, I've definitely had games with multiple drops.
Okay.
Not games, a game, I believe. It happens.
Okay.
But
what do you mean?
But I wasn't on my quarterback. I wasn't out.
That's the thing.
And just making it known that we got to be this in the past.
Give me the ball.
When you make those claims, you have almost zero margin for error.
See, that stinks. Yeah.
It's like KW. It's like the days when you on the call are like, this is quoting you, Kevin Wildes. I have to carry the show today, guys, because the Ravens and Chiefs are out, and then then you're not good. That makes Brew and I madder than just regular days when you're not good.
When you're bad,
but you're just like you didn't like demand touches. Like it just happens. Like we all get it.
I don't understand that at all.
This was the Niners win. And because it was a coaching clinic. Like, it was like the Niners were doing calculus and the Eagles were doing their times tables. I mean, it was that. The Eagles were predictable, and, of course, their stars didn't make plays. The Niners, I mean, when they came out with the play with Jawan Jennings, the jet sweep, fake jet sweep, and the kind of like a flea flicker and all that, his pass, I think the Eagles were like, you can do that?
You're allowed.
You're allowed to do it. I mean, when you compare the play calling, it was just night and day. Then they had to go out and execute it, and that's a great catch.
I was going to say, the catch, the throw is great. The catch from a running back.
It's a great catch from a running back. And we just showed A.J. Brown, one of the best receivers, making some drops. And I'm not saying those were easy catches, but you catch those if you're a receiver, and then the running back makes this play. Juszczyk had a catch behind his body, like a fullback,
great.
So their players executed the superior play calling, and that was the difference. The Eagles didn't execute the inferior play calling.
So I agree with that, and I think that when you look at, if we throw up the graphic about games lost due to injury this year, so many teams, it feels like their coaches or the teams are like, just what do you want us to do? Injury bug bug got us. Meanwhile, the Niners have some power play that's poisoning their players for the last decade. And they make the conference championship
Hey, something's up,
every
though.
No,
nothing's up.
I don't know, man. That guy who said sunlight is life had a compelling tweet thread. We all saw it. But my point is, and Kittle pops his Achilles during the game, and they just keep rolling. So I don't want to not give the Niners credit. I also don't want to gloss over the fact that this Eagles season as a whole was, all things considered, one of the most indefensible Super Bowl defenses we've seen in 15 years. The last Super Bowl champ to not win a playoff game was the 2019 Pats. But again, they had been to 3 straight Super Bowls. It was kind of a last dance situation. You know what I mean? That feels different to me. Like Brady.
Brady was still great. Brady was
still great, but that still feels different, at least to me. We have had some Super Bowl champs the next year miss the playoffs outright because they weren't able to overcome injury like the Rams did the year after they won the Super Bowl. This Eagles team, from week 2-3 on, it's like, man, that offense sure seems to go into hibernation for quarters at a time. It sure seems like they should figure that out. Man, A.J. Brown sure seems to be unhappy with something. I know that because I paid for the Twitch stream where he talked about it for everyone, told him to drop him in fantasy.
Yeah.
They changed nothing. The offensive coordinator, everybody's mad at him. Nope, we're not going to change anything. They've changed coordinators before. The wide receiver does all this before the trade deadline. Trade deadline rolls around. Nope, we're rolling it. We're running it back. They just operated as if we're the 0-1 Lakers, and y'all think we think the regular season matters. Watch when we get a playoff switch. And the playoffs rolled around, and you went up against maybe the worst defense in the playoffs as far as injuries and availability, all of that. Yeah. And you looked like you did every game against any team with a pulse. Couple good drives, and then nothing. Tough. And that was, just one last piece. They played the Bills in week 17, did nothing in the second half of that game offensively, won it anyway, and then Nick Sirianni said, nope, don't need a tune-up. Don't need to try to get the 2 seed and end up playing the Packers. We are fine with being the 3 seed, and we want rest. And then the offense looked awful. And so that ain't great.
Coming up next, who could have seen this coming? The Prince.
Hey.
What? Hey, the Jags were taking shots at me and Greg.
What? No, they weren't.
Saying, yes.
The Prince turned into a frog. Take that off. Take that off.
That was Hobbs. College hoops triple header. Villanova, Providence at 6. West Virginia, Houston. Houston's number 7. I don't have them going to the Final Four, though. And then Maryland. No.
I have Houston winning it all this year.
What?
They finally break through.
Holy cow.
They were a shot away last year.
Maryland, USC.
Michigan.
All tips off tomorrow only on FS1. The Jags' 8-game winning streak has come to an end. Wow. Who could have seen that coming besides Coach Mangini, who warned us at every turn? Actually, I thought he ruined some segments, but he was right. Game-sealing interception from the Prince. 1 of 2 in the afternoon. Prince goes 18 for 30 for only 207 yards against that vaunted Bills pass defense that actually isn't.
What do you mean? It's the number 1 pass defense in football.
Not in my book.
Okay.
How much of this loss is on Trevor?
Listen, Brew, what do I hate more than anything? What is this? God.
It's sad news.
You guys did not tell me this was happening.
Yeah. The sad Prince.
Fellas, I'm addressing you guys. This is a betrayal. This is a betrayal. I have fought with you guys.
Sad Prince music. You can put your wig on if you want. I'm still in my ear. Okay, that's too much, Whit.
Brew, I was trying to do cogent analysis and be accountable. What do I hate more than anything?
When quarterbacks trying to rally their teams at the end of games end it with an interception.
Game-losing picks when it's in a particularly non-desperation situation. So, if if there's 20 seconds left and you're
Hail Mary
and there's or you've got to go 60 yards in 20 seconds. So I didn't like the end of that game.
No.
You had a minute because I thought the Bills were a little too aggressive with the Josh Allen sneak. We don't have to get into it. You have maybe the strongest leg kicker in the history of the league.
Yes.
You're down 3, not down 4, so you didn't have to force it there. That lost them the game. I'm not saying they would have won it, but that lost them the game. And after the Bills fumble on the kick return, Trevor stumbling on the sneak on the 4th down run. I mean, it was going to be 14-3.
Yeah.
Game of inches.
Right.
They say.
No, and
he was down.
No, he was down. It was a good call. Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and change what I value because it was my guy. It hurts more because there have only been 2 other losses like that in playoff history where a quarterback has multiple go ahead from behind 4th quarter touchdown drives and they don't win. The 13 seconds game and a famous Drew Brees game. Multiple go ahead touchdowns in the 4th quarter and then you lose anyway. And so it was this close to being, he could have been, I think just he and Mahomes would have been the only guys ever with 3 go-ahead touchdown drives in 1 quarter had he driven him down. He had an opportunity right there. Now, what I will say, despite you jackals, is I am very encouraged by the year and the direction I believe Trevor's going, because I didn't look at that as like he melted down. No, he made a terrible mistake, but I'm optimistic about where he's going, where the team's going. But they had an opportunity early to put a stranglehold on the game, and he slipped on the 4th and 2, and they had an opportunity late for him to go be a true legend, and he threw a pick on the first play. That's a tough spot. It just is what it is.
I believe Josh can, if he can check this quickly, I believe he has 7 interceptions in his 3 playoff games. I think that's
definitely right. He had 4 in the first, 1 in the second, and 2 in that.
It might be the most since during that time frame. Look,
good amount.
I don't put it all on Trevor. He threw 3 touchdowns. He played. He had some moments. He's got to get better. This team is really good. Like, I think, and obviously Liam Cohen is good. I don't mean that he's not a good quarterback. He's kind of the weak link, though. Like, he's solid, but he's not great.
But
now,
when they were great, they were great because he
had
was
to stretch.
Yes.
He had to stretch, no doubt. But remember, earlier in the season, and you even said it, they were winning kind of despite him.
That's fair.
And so I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. But for them to get to the next level where they can really get to a Super Bowl, he's got to improve. Now, there's no reason to think he can't because of the jump he took under Liam Cohen. So if he takes that jump next season, then they should be a legit contender. But right now, if he were like an elite quarterback, they win that game going away, really. And so I just think he's got to improve.
So I don't put the loss on Trevor. I think Trevor should put the loss on him and then own it and improve based on what you're saying. I thought I was very encouraged by Trevor. Even the interception, the throw, the conviction in which he threw it, like it was a good throw. You could say it could have been better because it ended up getting picked. It was excellent defense. It was a great defensive play, but he didn't throw it with any hesitation. He knew exactly what he wanted to do with the ball, where he wanted to go, and he put it in a good spot. You look at this, it's like, his receiver is going to catch that ball if the defender doesn't knock it down, hopefully. And so you can live with that. If you are your Liam Cohen and you watch this back, do you want to have it back if you're Trevor? Absolutely. But some of the throws he made in this game, his ability to show resolve and be resilient and make some of these throws, I was really impressed. And so knowing what you have coming back next year, you had a receiver on the field that Parker Washington that no one knew about. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, we got Parker Washington, you got Jacoby Myers, you got
Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter coming back.
All these weapons, Trevor, if he continues to improve, this can, and defense looks the way they look, this can be a very,
he's gotta
very
be more
scary
accurate.
team.
He's got to be more accurate.
He's kind of like Caleb without the spectacular,
His spectacular
side to it.
plays are the windows he fits it into. Like that's
That was
unbelievable
a great throw. He had a corner route that he threw that was an excellent throw as well.
So, and the other thing, and this is where I'll just, if the Jags defense stops Josh Allen, people are like, wow, they won 24-20, and he had those back-to-back, but they didn't, and that's the cost of, he's not a young player anymore. He's just finished year 5. He makes $55 million. You got the ball back, and had they lost, but he didn't throw that pick, you know what I mean? They get to a 60-yard field goal, and the guy misses it, whatever. It's one thing. So I do think this was a huge step in the right direction, and and I think they're the best team in that division, but
that concludes our Jags coverage for the year. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. You want to play us out? We'll see you around the NFL draft in a few months, but until then, we'll talk about the other stuff.
That social media video really got you in your feelings.
I know. I got dozens
You didn't
of
want to
tweets.
say anything?
Yeah. Josh Allen, over 300 total yards, passer rating around 109, 2 rushing touchdowns. One was a little too quick, I thought. Yeah. How dangerous, Greg, do you think the Bills are moving forward here?
Look, I think they're very dangerous because they have the most dangerous player remaining in all of in the AFC. I say in all of the playoffs, but you can argue Caleb. You can argue Caleb.
More than Josh?
Scary. You can argue Caleb if you're the Bears. But right now, with his experience, knowing what you have in terms of the Broncos and then the winner of the Texans, Pittsburgh, or Patriots, you feel really good about your chances.
I think they'll be the favorites in every game.
You feel really good about your chances because defensively, you have a quarterback that can overcome any defense. Right. Because of how special he is. If you can have the support of the running game, which again I showed you the numbers, that was the worst we've seen their running game all season long, and yet they still find a way to pull through. Defensively, they stepped up, got the stops when they needed. Josh Allen, he can do it all, and that's what you got to have in these moments. They have that. They have the guy that has the experience. No big red machine. No Lamar. No Burrow.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
We got to stop saying no Burrow.
Burrow
hadn't been there.
I only say it because he lost.
Well, Burrow beat him. Yeah,
I understand, but Burrow not being in the playoffs is we should be like, and Burrow's in. He's been in the league 6 years. He's been in the playoffs twice.
Yeah, just the guys who have beaten Josh.
Okay, well, Lamar hasn't. Include Lamar. Lamar hasn't.
That's just the top 4.
But go ahead. Sorry, bro.
No, I mean, great. Yeah, they're dangerous. I mean, they got the Superman. They got the best player in the AFC, and they're competent elsewhere. They got the run game. It wasn't great against Jacksonville, but that's what they do. It should be better against other teams. Look, Khalil Shakir, that might be the best game I've seen him play. Like I'm not saying he can do that every game, but he was good for them.
Yeah, but they lost Gabe Davis, which I think is going to matter. Go ahead.
That's what I was just going to tell you.
Keon Coleman sighting too.
Yeah, Keon
was all right, but Gabe Davis tearing his ACL is a big deal. The Superman stuff, and I know I am scared of the Bills, but at the same time I root for Josh Allen, just root for good football. It just feels like he's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah,
and almost by design.
Yes,
guys, what happened to protecting your franchise
not in the playoffs. That's not what the playoffs are for.
You might. I'm telling you,
he's not going to miss a game.
No, but he's getting twisted around like a pretzel.
Listen, this is where I have got a massive.
There was one interior run, I can't remember exactly, where I didn't think that was necessary to run him.
Oof.
I'm not talking about at the goal line, but
I know what you're talking about.
But that's the key to going far. I would have a little bit of caution.
Man, this is the moment.
Yep.
This is his moment, and this is where great risk, great reward.
I guess so.
If and when they lose, 80% of the scenarios that involve them losing involve him being heavily criticized because of the field, because of who he would have lost to, all of it. But if they win, despite the fact that he's got the rushing champ, what I thought was a reminder from McDermott yesterday, as long as Mahomes isn't on the other side of the field, he can dial up some good playoff defenses. Like, that really did confuse Trevor some. Great offensive line. He's going to get the glory, and he should, because he is that guy, and he is banged up, and he is going to just fight through it. Deion Dawkins put voice to it. I thought the Bills, the biggest mistake for the Jags yesterday, I thought, was they stopped running the ball. Your worries about the Bills' run defense were not answered yesterday. They ran the ball with great success. Didn't matter. But Josh is right now, since that loss to Burrow, Josh is on an all-time playoff heater. Yeah. So I know they're 4-2 with two, and he had a drive in each of those games he'd like back against the Chiefs. But 16 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, a 107 rating, 71% completions, and 265 yards per game. That's now over the last 3 years of the playoffs. And so that's...
No turnovers in 6 games.
I mean, no turnovers and 16 touchdowns.
We'll see how he does against the Broncos. I mean, this is a real test for the Broncos defense.
Well, yeah. And I mean, but the fact that they are the favorites in Denver, it's because of him, and he deserves credit for it.
Rodgers' legacy game? He's got a pretty long legacy with him.
Legacy game, I like that.
Friday, Fox College Hoops, Baylor going up against number 22, Kansas. You don't like Kansas, do you? Big Kansas-Missouri rivalry.
That's correct.
Oh, my goodness. All tips off Friday night at 8 Eastern, only on
Jock Vaughn ain't
Fox.
walking through that.
Hey, what about Danny Manning? Joel Embiid.
Rafe LaFrance.
Rafe LaFrance. Number
Paul Pierce.
Texans.
Nice.
Paul Pierce.
How about him?
Texans in Pittsburgh tonight. Rodgers up against this vicious defense. Texans 0-6 on the road all time as a franchise. I always like these. Does it have a...
Means nothing.
Well, kind of.
What?
CJ's gone home a few times, and it's in Pittsburgh. That's the trick.
Okay.
Tomlin 12-0 at home. Does that mean anything?
KW.
On Mondays.
Yeah, KW. Don't. KW. That's not even KW. If you're going to use my stat,
I didn't use it. I just mentioned it.
You got it wrong. Dusty
12-0
the graphic.
The
12-0 at home on Monday nights. 22-3. Again, if I'm being totally fair, since you screwed it up, you said 12-0 at home on Mondays. This is a Monday night graphic.
Well, yeah, not a Monday morning.
Well, no, he's not
playing Monday morning.
KW.
No one knows. 8 a.m. game.
They do have a loss during the day on Monday.
When? In Europe?
No, I'm just telling you. This is a Monday night graphic.
Hold on, tell me there's
a daytime. They played a Monday daytime.
I'm telling you guys, they have a Monday day loss. I don't know the context
of it. But
the reason this
that
says
was like
Monday
80
night.
years ago.
I'm just telling you.
When were they playing games on Monday?
A holiday.
Monday afternoon.
I don't know.
7:30 in the
That had to be 80 years ago. I'm saying it had to be in the 40s.
Tomlin lost it. I'm talking about Tomlin.
Oh my God.
Monday might have been a COVID thing. You're ruining everything because you're freestyling graphics. Just don't let me do my graphics, you do yours. We need to be a factually correct show.
But this game is at night.
Exactly.
It didn't already play. Somebody check.
I'm just baffled.
That they're not currently.
Monday
they played this morning.
Josh,
it's like a soccer game.
Josh is going to walk
out. It's the Premier League. We missed the game.
I've got the Steelers.
Okay.
I think that aside from the Browns game they're playing best ball of the year, I think Rodgers will stand in and take some shots if need be because he was trying to stay healthy for this game. I don't think the Texans ever fixed their offense.
Yep.
And I think that having TJ Watt back, I know they had him back this last week as well. I like the Steelers in this spot. I think they finally break this streak and we get a very chesty Aaron Rodgers after the game. And then we get a Rodgers-Drake May, the young guy, the old guy showdown.
Look, I don't have a dog in this fight, obviously, but I think
CJ was your guy for years.
Yeah, well, look, I think Houston's going to win because of the pass rush. Okay, and I think it's going to make Aaron get rid of the ball very quickly, and he's not going to be as effective. I'm just going to be honest. You know, sometimes you don't have a dog in the fight. You find yourself going one way, just
You're rooting
pulling.
for the Steelers?
The Aaron Rodgers story would be great. I'm not just
That
wanting them to win
Ravens
this
game
game.
got you, didn't it?
No, I'm not just wanting them to win this game. If he wins this game, I want him to get to the Super Bowl, at least. Because I'm into story. I'm a journalist. I am into the story of Aaron Rodgers.
I like that.
But who do you think's going to win?
I think Houston's going to win.
But
I think in my heart, I'll find myself.
If the Steelers, whoever wins this game, I promise you, in my heart, I'll be rooting for them next round. I guarantee you that. That I know I'm going to.
Greg, who do you have?
Look, I love what Aaron did against your Ravens. It is exciting.
It's a great
DK
story.
coming
It's just
back.
a great story.
I just think the Houston Texans defense.
Can I
get after you without putting pressure or
pitch
bringing
something
pressure.
to you though?
Yeah.
The fact that Aaron Rodgers has been the fastest to get rid of the ball the whole year, he hasn't wanted to get hit. My theory, and tell me if it holds any water for you, is we see the Texans give people trouble because your game has to change. Like Josh sits back there behind that offensive line, all of a sudden they're on top of him. His whole game has to change, and he couldn't get it going. Aaron is used to, I got the ball, it's gone. Regardless, again, it's any pass rush. So isn't that a bit of hasn't he been training almost for this Texans defense against everybody all year?
The interesting thing about the Texans, they got fast linebackers, they got defensive ends that can get their hands up if they can't get to the quarterback, so they deflect balls. And then you got corners. You got a great secondary. You got guys who can play bump and run, get up in front of the receivers, and not allow that quick game to be as timely as they want it to be. So I like them because I just feel like it'll be whoever can score, because scoring is going to be at a premium. Whoever can score, I feel like the Houston Texans aren't going to allow you to score.
It would be nice to see CJ have kind of a resurgence. Because if he does that, they can get to the Super Bowl.
The AFC is open. During this 6-game playoff losing streak, the Steelers have been blown out. They have not scored a single first quarter point. It has been so lopsided almost instantly in these games. I just don't think that's going to happen in tonight's game. I also think having DK Metcalf back, that Metcalf all of a sudden plus Gainwell, feels like they're going to.
He's the key.
Right. And
Gainwell.
And also, lastly, KW
likes
to say to the audience that I try to look at his notes to steal points.
You definitely
KW, read the only thing you typed up for this segment.
I have a few things.
No, the only thing, your big headline.
I didn't realize.
Read what I looked over at what KW had. Just read it
I
to
don't
the
know
audience.
if you should read that.
Just read it.
I don't know. I mean,
Rodgers throws fast.
That's his prep. His prep.
That's his analysis.
That's the prep. Guess
That's
what?
the analysis.
It's the key to the game. It's the key to the whole game. Sorry, I made the whole analysis
I
simple.
looked down. I'm like, oh, KW's
Well, stop
got
reading
a
off my
gym.
paper.
I'm not reading that.
Live from New York, it's First Things First overtime today. How did the Bears pull off this comeback? Danny Parkins was in the building, and he has not changed his outfit. Meanwhile, is there one person who deserves the lion's share of the blame for the Eagles' loss and offensive woes this year? And finally, what did Josh Allen prove with a win over the Prince in Jacksonville? We discuss alongside Chris Broussard, Nick Wright, and a costumed Danny Parkins, who is going to regale us with his stories.
If I'm talking about this game, this is what I'm wearing.
I'm Kevin Wildes. Danny, can you give us a little sneak preview before we get into the game? You're the one surprising moment, or I'll give you a better one. How was Brew received in Chicago?
Brew. Not very popular. Yeah. A lot of love the show. A lot of shout outs to the old radio show.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of tell Brew to put some respect on our name.
What?
I
have you
love
been?
Jordan.
That
Jordan's
is
the GOAT. I'm shocked that they don't love me there.
They don't think you've had enough faith in Caleb.
Well,
called him cute, little lucky,
That is definitely
little
true.
fluky. You were the least popular member of the show.
Less popular than Wilds?
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm beloved in Chicago.
Me 1, Gianna 2, Nick 3.
Gianna 2.
Yeah.
All right, we're starting with one of the best comebacks in playoff history. Bears put up 25 in the fourth to steal this game from the Packers. Here's a guy who took it up yet another notch, Ben Johnson.
No panic. None of it built for pressure. That's you guys. And that's the first one. That's the first one. All right? That's what we had to do. To do what you just did, I said it at halftime, right? This is one that you'll never forget. Yes, sir. This is one you'll never forget. All right? Bring it on in. Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Good gets better. And it better gets better. Bears on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Danny, how did your Bears pull this off?
Magic. I told you. Bunch of haters that I got to deal with.
All of his dumb
believe.
analysis came true. Every single piece of it.
I told you, just believe. I can't. You guys have all watched sports long enough. Sometimes, I know as a golfer, I pray to the golf gods. Like there are weird things that happen. The Packers were dominating that game. Yeah. Jordan Love looked great. The Bears defense looked terrible. Ben Johnson went for it on 4th down inside his own 35-yard line in the second quarter. And we were talking about it, me and my friends, my nephew, people I was at the game with, were saying it was the right call because it was so obvious that the Bears defense was just going to get gashed all night. And so that they were going to need to figure out a way to win a shootout and turn it into the Niners game that we watched a couple of weeks ago. And then halftime hits after McManus misses the field goal. So it's 21-3. And it had been snowing and it's freezing and the Bears are just getting their teeth kicked in. And we're all sitting there talking and we're like, you just got to get a stop to start the third quarter and then Caleb magic. Like, my whole life as a Bears fan has been based in earned cynicism. And this, we just kind of believed. We kind of just thought, well, if you just make it close and then one thing happens, like this was you can't really explain it, divine intervention, high-fiving strangers type of game. And it was honestly beautiful. Like, I know you guys are going to make fun of me and mock me and all, and that's fine.
We have the outfit
why
yeah.
how could you possibly?
Really?
How could you?
Mock you?
I think I look great. Yeah. I don't care. It's all that matters. But seriously, it was, sports they matter. Like, they just matter. And this rivalry matters. And, like, Ben Johnson doubling down on it today and saying, I don't like them. Like, it's a different, it's not Yankees Red Sox. We are neighbors with Wisconsin. Like, my dad's whole family is from Wisconsin. We work with these people. We're married to these people. It's like, the Packers don't even have an owner. The fans own the team. The Bears are descendants of George Halas. It's just different. And Caleb Williams now has as many wins against the Packers as Mitch Trubisky, Jay Cutler, and Justin Fields combined. Yeah. Like, it's just, it feels different. It feels like the turning of a page. And again, I said it in the walk-in video. I'm not a religious person. It honestly felt like a sports religious experience to be there on Saturday night. And I'm telling you right now, Chicagoans agree with me. That is not overstating it.
Well, the broadcast talked about how early in the game the crowd seemed dead, and by late in the game, Herb Street and Michaels were saying that Michaels said it's the loudest he's ever heard that stadium.
A beat writer for 25 years.
He felt it shake. Right.
It was insane by the end.
And your point about just believing, I think for different reasons, less supernatural and bruising than I think yours. It seems, Brew, you had the same belief at the end. Like that Caleb is now.
I was saying, Danny, earlier, a feeling that I've really only had with Mahomes over the last few years, I had with Caleb when he had the ball at the end of the game.
Oh, what were you saying? I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Keep going.
You missed the broadcast when they were going to that every.
Oh, is this joke done? Yeah. I got some aged cheddar for you, Brew. Go ahead. Again, it's not very popular in Chicago. Go ahead.
No, but I felt like Caleb was there. Look at it. This is unbelievable.
He's doing. I didn't see that.
Like he was gonna get it done.
Legend.
I felt like he was gonna get it done at the end of the game, and I think you can make an argument that J-Lo outplayed him. But for all of that, I'm going to eat this later.
Yeah, you should.
For all of that, I did not have that feeling when the Packers got the ball at the end. That J-Lo was going for many reasons, but J-Lo was going to make it happen.
So did the game convert you? Are you now
as far as what?
A believer. Are you a believer?
No, I wouldn't say that. A believer in terms of
the Bears in Caleb.
I thought they were a good team. You know, I picked them to make the playoffs.
Okay.
But I picked the Packers in this game. But Caleb, he is dynamic at the end of games. There's no question. But the Packers helped him out.
So to me, I think to answer how did they pull off this comeback? I think Caleb made one of, as far as singular plays, given the context of if you don't make this play, you lose the game. Mm-hmm. It's the playoffs. They went on to win it. One of the best plays since I've been on TV. That 4th and 8 throw, I do not think it is prisoner of the moment. I do not think it is hyperbole to say. I think this is one of the best plays in the last decade in the NFL. When you put all things together. Caleb obviously was sensational in moments. Ben Johnson, after it felt a little on tilt in the first half, was, as young people would say, in his bag late in the game. Felt like he set up the game-winning touchdown was set up early in the game when they actually made that a screen. We're in the same thing. And then it was also, aided and abetted by some outrageous Packers play calling decisions and plays that they made.
And just the missed field goals,
two missed field goals, missed extra point, the delay a game out of a timeout, which caused that field goal to be 44 yards instead of 33. Throwing deep in the 4-minute drill.
I feel like because you are from there, and there's also I'll share. There's also when Danny says like my families or whatever. Like Danny's late father is a big Packer fan. Like there's a lot of stuff mixed up in that where this moment is bigger than for you. I think I look at it as a planting of the flag for Caleb in his career, and that I feel like those of us who thought coming out of school, this guy is the next great quarterback in this league. Now, Drake May, I thought was going to be good. I didn't see this, but I thought Caleb was going to be a future MVP. I got a little squeamish on it. You never doubted. But I think we can now say for the first time since draft day, he's back on schedule. I think for number 1 overall pick, generational quarterback, he now is on schedule for that.
Generational?
Because whatever your hopes for Caleb were, here's what I would say. I think he has future league MVP, he has underachieved in the regular season through 2 years, if that's their trajectory. But this is to already have this type of playoff moment in your first ever playoff game, that then to me gets him back on schedule where I feel like, as good as Jordan Love was, he's the best quarterback in that division. I feel like, depending on if Stafford wins the Super Bowl and retires, he could go into next year as the best quarterback in that conference. Like that. And so that to me is what is so promising about that game, and then we'll see how he plays this week.
Dan, can I ask you a question that I'm confused by? Because I did offer up the analysis and really recommendation to Caleb that he's had so many fourth quarter comebacks and has been so excellent in the fourth quarter. I kicked around the Maverick idea of instead of just playing good in the fourth quarter, play good the entire game.
I passed it along.
Again,
they're considering it.
He opted not to. Interceptions, and he's like, I'm still going to do what we've been doing, playing. So how are you wrapping your head around that of just not having a complete game from start to finish, but having a 12 of 10 game at the very end.
Well, it's a pretty exciting ceiling. And like, if this is year one of Caleb and Ben Johnson. Like, I think they're ahead of schedule as a rookie head coach, second-year quarterback duo that lost 10 straight games last year and won 5 games total. Like, they're now one of the
duo can be ahead of schedule with Caleb not being ahead of schedule.
Sure, yeah. That's fine. But like, I can't wait to see what Caleb is next year. But for now, because everyone is so flawed, do it this way. That's fine. Like, is this sustainable? Like, the logical side of my brain would say no, but magic and the Pope and divine intervention and my late brother and father smiling down and wanting me to have these moments in a Bears-Packers rivalry with my nephew, who did a great job filming all that social media content, by the way.
Like, we owe him some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Caleb Williams, baby.
The fact that they're 3-3 down 10 with 5 minutes left, and the rest of the league's 3-1, 59.
Yeah, it's
that
wild.
That doesn't feel like it's something you can build on for next year, but it does feel like something that actually helps them next week. Like, are they the only team in the league that if they're down more than one score in the fourth quarter, feels fine? I mean, that's my, you know what I mean? Like that.
Probably, but the thing is, like, what I think it's confusing, it's not like he doesn't get tight. He doesn't get better. He gets peak quarterback ever. Like, we've never seen a guy go from here to the ceiling when he's losing by multiple scores. It's a fascinating. It's fascinating. You did a great job. Now we're going to go to the other.
I had a lot more stories for you.
Your other guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do we have to?
Yeah. Going to the night game. Every playoff tilt was close. First 4 games were decided by a total brew of 14 points. Patriots won by 13. Herbert put up 3. 120 fewer yards than Drake through the air to secure the Patriots win. And for me, a seafood tower. Here's Harbaugh on Herbert's abysmal performance. Just kidding. Here's Harbaugh on OC Greg Roman.
Yeah, right now I don't have the answers, as I said. We're gonna look at that, and everything, and it's it really falls on me, and that we weren't at our best tonight. I don't have the answers. I wish I did, but we'll work hard. It'd be a new beginning.
Should this loss change your personal view of Justin Herbert?
I will just tell you how it feels for me. I'm not going to tell other people how to think. It changes mine a little. I'll admit it. Like, okay. Hey, that's a big movement for me.
Okay.
I'm shocked that he struggled as much as he did. I'm shocked by it.
You're shocked by something that's only ever happening?
That's correct.
Okay.
I looked at those events as outlier events, and now it has happened a third time, which out of 98 career games, 95 in the regular season, 3 in the playoffs, how much weight am I supposed to put on those 3 playoff games? Some. Yeah. And I think but reasonable minds can disagree on how much. And so, yeah, it surprised me. The Patriots are not a great pass rush, and against a terrible offensive line, had an above-average pass rush by pressure rate in that game. And late in the game, they were dominant. But he had time early, and there wasn't a lot of separation, but there was some. Like, the All-22 Twitter has found some throws that, not that Herbert missed in terms of, like, he threw them and they didn't execute, but just, like, missed and he didn't throw them, right? So, yeah, I think it's fair to downgrade Herbert a bit, and it's fair to next year, when the playoffs come around, have this tag hanging over him on like a real belief on whether he could get it done. But I think he now still is on a Peyton Manning-esque track. I do, personally, because I know
Peyton Manning lost his third
Peyton Manning lost his first 3 playoff games. And if you don't like Peyton Manning, what about a guy who went to a Super Bowl and won an MVP in Matt Ryan? Or what about a guy who won a Super Bowl?
Matt Ryan's very different than Peyton Manning.
Exactly. What about Matt Stafford?
Yeah, I don't.
So all 3 guys started 0-3 in the playoffs. And after their 0-3 start, and I know what you said earlier, and it's correct, like, it doesn't mean that it can't happen in the future. It's just now I'm talking about projections. But if the question is, do I still believe that Justin Herbert will win a league MVP, win a Super Bowl, and win a Super Bowl MVP? Yes, I do. But is the criticism in the present tense fair? Sure. Also, fire Greg Roman.
I tend to agree with you.
The next
Greg
person
Roman.
we got to fire.
Yeah,
Another
I
person sacrificed at the altar of arm talent from the combine 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, look, I thought some of the play calling was bad in the red zone, and so I'm with you there. I don't think he's the coordinator for Herbert. However, you got to stop comparing him to Peyton Manning. Like, Peyton Manning is one of the,
5 greatest quarterbacks ever.
Yes.
And this is
he's not going to be that. He's not elite. Now, I'm not saying he can't ever get there, because I like the arm talent and all that too, and I'm surprised by how poorly he has played in the playoffs, but he looks like a different quarterback in the playoffs.
And there is, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. You are being far more measured now than you were last night or this morning when I talked to you about this.
Go ahead.
And I think I can bait you into talking about how you, because when Danny says he's downgraded, what he means is, I used to have him ahead of Joe Burrow in my personal quarterback rankings, and now I have him as the 6th best quarterback in the league. That's what he means. When he says downgrade, that's what he means. Yeah, and when we say, and we are not, what we're not going to do is do a season of Peyton Manning year 6 and not do a final tale of the tape of Herbert versus Peyton Manning in year 6. Well, because here is what Peyton Manning's playoff game in year 6 looked like, and here's what Justin Herbert's did.
I will admit it was slightly different.
Peyton Manning won by 30
yeah.
and had the only perfect passer rating of a 20 on a high passage game in the history of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert did what he did last night.
That was bad.
Here's what their seasons looked like. Peyton Manning led the league in passing yards, had a better, of course, touchdown interception ratio and passer rating, was first team All-Pro, won league MVP, and made it the conference championship game.
Yeah.
So that's where he is. And you can cherry pick, hey, here's the full list of good quarterbacks that started their career 0-3 in the playoffs. But there's no getting around this piece of it, because you're like, why can't he be Matt Ryan or Matt Stafford? Career passer rating. You're not going to see through 3 playoff games. Lowest career passer rating, minimum 3 starts. Dalton, Herbert, Brad Johnson, Carson Palmer, Rex Grossman. And when I told you this morning, why can't he be a stronger-armed rich man's Andy Dalton, you thought it was outrageous.
Because it is.
Okay.
But Dalton is too low.
Hold on. Here's the thing.
It is
Danny,
outrageous, Nick. It's outrageous. It's outrageous thought.
Through 6 years,
yeah,
he is so much has more in common with Andy Dalton than any of the quarterbacks you're talking about.
Okay.
Through 6 years,
buddy,
he is closer to Andy Dalton and Peyton Manning, and it's inarguable.
Inarguable. Excuse me, bro. I'm sorry. Because Nick is doing he's doing a little sleight of hand here.
I'm showing the 2 lowest career passer rating quarterbacks' careers. That's all it is.
No.
That's number 1 and number 2 worst career playoff passer rating for their careers.
Would you agree that touchdowns kind of matter there? You're saying that a 160 to 97 touchdown to turnover ratio for Dalton is similar to 178 to 68?
No, he does a better job of taking care of the ball.
And scoring touchdowns, Nick. The guy on the right, Justin Herbert, that's 2.6 to 1 touchdowns to turnover. The guy on the left is 1.6 to 1. Do you know what Patrick Mahomes' touchdowns to turnover ratio is? 2.9.
Yeah, but
Herbert is an excellent player. He's excellent. He's been bad in 3 playoff games.
So
he's been really bad in 2.5 playoff games. He is an excellent football player. He is not Andy Dalton. That is ridiculous.
Danny, I didn't say he's Andy Dalton. I say he's a stronger-armed, rich man's Andy Dalton at the moment. And what I don't know, it is the only reason to argue that he is on a Peyton Manning or could one day be one of these legendary players trajectory is because we have decided the games don't actually matter.
No, of course they matter.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Both you guys are at extreme. Like, Andy Dalton's too low.
I don't think he's Andy Dalton.
I just can't look at stats, and Danny's right. The touchdown interception ratio is not close. But I can't, even if it were, it's more than just stats. Yeah, Herbert is better than Dalton.
I agree.
But Peyton Manning is a ridiculous comparison too. Like, you got to stop that. He's, like Nick said, Peyton Manning is one of the 5 best quarterbacks ever. He literally
We did not think
changed
that
the game.
6 years into his career, though.
He won
But
league
you
MVP
people-
in year 6, buddy.
But we did not think he was one of the 5 best quarterbacks
No,
ever.
we saw how he was changing the game, too, by calling it at the line of scrimmage and all that stuff. Like, Herbert's not about to change the game like that.
He has the most passing yards through 6 years.
But passing yards, and I'm not that it's not
25,000 passing
important, but a lot of times that doesn't always,
guys,
mean it's positive.
There is no quarterback in league history who's lost 3 straight playoff games with their defense forcing 10 turnovers until Herbert. We do this whole, and listen, his offensive line's brutal. He has, in all 3 of his playoff games, his defense has put him in the catbird seat. Even in that Texans game, they had a lead before he started throwing it away. They got 4 picks against Trevor, and yesterday that game was there for the taking, and he couldn't come through. And I did not pick Andy Dalton up out of nowhere. It's literally the 2 lowest career playoff passer rating guys. That's what it is. And I'm not, again, do I think he is Andy Dalton? Of course not. But do I think he is more likely to have that type of career than go on to be a league MVP, Super Bowl MVP, when we've literally never seen him play one good playoff game? Of course I think that.
Do you think Justin Herbert would have been better off missing the playoffs narrative-wise?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, well, then that's ridiculous. Because he carried this team.
You said narrative, but they had a top 5 scoring defense all year. Yesterday, their defense allowed 16 points.
This is great.
I just don't know.
Ridiculous.
Last year, they had the number 1 scoring defense in football, and he carried the team, and then he threw 4 picks. At some point, there has to be some accountability for a 3-point playoff game.
Yeah,
I feel like we didn't talk enough about the seafood tower that Danny had.
I do owe you a seafood tower.
Well, it turned into an episode of Frenemies.
Yeah. Got a seafood tower because Drake May didn't play well and easily outplayed
Whenever you want it, buddy.
Peyton Manning.
And that's all of us, right?
Jalen Hurts.
Seafood towers all around.
And the Eagles next.
In July, Wild said.
Yeah.
July, we'll
you
get
can't hang out with us till
our
July.
next dinner.
Thanks for hanging out with the OT. We got Greg Jennings and Willie Colon out here. We go to Philadelphia. The defending champs, well, they got upset and eliminated from a shot at going back-to-back by the shorthanded San Francisco 49ers. Jalen Hurts, he was asked about it, his growth with Kevin Patullo. Tough time to answer this question, but hey, your offense is bad. Do you and the offensive coordinator see a future together? Take a look.
Well, I think I'm always growing. I'm always taking in my experiences and learning from everything that we go through. I think it's tough to single out one individual, especially in a moment like this. We all got to improve, and that's how I look at everything that we go through.
Willie, what would you say is the biggest reason the Eagles lost to the Niners?
For me, it was the Eagles' receiving core was the biggest letdown. The fact that you had DeMarcus Robinson and Juan Jennings have more production than the entire Eagles' receiving core is a problem. DeMarcus Robinson, was suspended three games this season. He was a no-show, and he turned out to be the X factor for the Niners. And when you talk about the Eagles offensively, coming out of halftime, you got to have some blood in your mouth. You got to feel like we got to put the knife to this team, and you didn't. To score no points in the third and to look absolutely anemic in the fourth quarter and be absolutely horrible in situational football was gagging. I was shocked they were that bad. But then at the same time, you go back to the Bills game. That was the second team. That's exactly what they did in the second half of that Bills game. So I was shocked that this Eagles receiving corps didn't show up and kind of elevate the game. It was just a bad day for A.J. Brown and Smitty, man. 4 drops.
Receiver?
Yeah, your stars weren't stars. It's period. That's when you look at last year, their run, their ability to make big plays, their ability to get the ball to their playmakers, Saquon Barkley, obviously A.J. Brown, the receivers, Devontae Smith, and Goddard, who actually stepped up. But when your number is dialed up, like consecutively dialed up, and you fail to make those plays, and then in critical moments of the game, you fail to make those plays, and conversely, to your point, the opponent who just have been making plays with guys being out, losing their best, their kind of vocal, emotional leader in George Kittle, and then everybody's still feeling like, you know what, we've been here before, let's continue to do it. It was shocking
See, now you both have said the word shocking, and I understand what you're saying because, like, the film in the moment is shocking. Like, A.J. Brown, he's a top 10 receiver. He drops a pass that hits him in his hands. That, like, individual result is shocking. But the Eagles' offense not showing up.
That part wasn't shocking.
Because we've seen, but what I thought was unique about this particular game, because we've seen Jalen Hurts have less than 200 yards. 10 times this year.
Yep.
Bryce Young's the only guy to do it more. We've seen them score 20 or fewer points 9 times this year. Same number as the Jets and the Titans. Like, we've seen the Eagles' offense be bad. The anatomy of this one against San Francisco, given how bad the Niners' defense was, I want to show you guys a few things here. Like, if I show you these 3 things at the top, the average time to pressure was over 3 seconds. That's an eternity, right? You've done your job. If you get 3 1/3 seconds before pressure gets to your quarterback. Pressured on 16% of your dropbacks. Justin Herbert's pressured at 48%. Like that is all day. Sacked 1 time. That would suggest offensive explosion. And instead you got this.
Yeah, but we also got to understand the Niners from this standpoint. They don't have the personnel to get home with their front four. We understand that. They're not a heavy blitz team. From a schematic standpoint, they play a bend but don't break. The problem was the Eagles never adjusted. Like, I watched the Eagles play not to lose, and I felt like the Niners played with way more heart, and they said, man, we're going to go get this thing. There was just a different level of intensity. So if you're the Eagles, like, I understand what the Niners did, but that's who they've been all season.
Right. I guess my point, though, is if your quarterback has all day and a minute to throw, and you have those skill position guys, you're supposed to move the ball.
And that's why it was shocking, because it was different. Like, we've seen them not be able to get A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith the ball for whatever reason. Like, why aren't they throwing them the ball? Why aren't they doing anything productive in the passing game? In this game, we saw them target them, actually be able to get them the ball, and they not come through. We hadn't seen that part. And that's why it was so shocking and startling. And I didn't know those were the numbers. In terms of the time that Jalen Hurts had and the time that the offensive line.
He's sitting in the pocket.
But I'm saying those numbers, when you sit on the field and you know he has a lot of time, 3 seconds, like that's on average. That is a eternity for a receiver to uncover, to get open, to create separation, to give your quarterback an opportunity to hit you with the ball, and then you make plays after it when you get the ball in your hands. We're not accustomed to seeing that from that group of skill position. As we look at the Eagles.
And I also think we got to give Brady a lot of credit in the cast, because he talked about it. When you're struggling to find answers on offense, you got to pick up the tempo. Philly never did that till late in that game. Like, there was some design quarterback runs that I feel like sparked that offense, and it never got going. It felt like they were asleep the most of the second half.
I'm kind of shocked Kevin Patullo still has his job right now, to be totally honest with you. To Jacksonville, Josh Allen. He got his first road playoff win thanks to the game-winning drive and then the game-sealing interception from Trevor Lawrence. This was Josh Allen on his mindset heading into that final go-ahead drive. Take a listen.
We have all 3 timeouts. We had enough time on the clock to run our offense. There was no panic, no rush. To have the wherewithal to, again, not blink, and I think that's just the mantra that we've adopted this year of, if we've got time left and we got the ball, we got a shot. And you saw that there today.
So I'll tell you guys what impressed me the most about this performance, because this was my Super Bowl pick, this was my MVP pick in Josh Allen. And it's just, he is a singular talent. Like, I can make the argument that he's the best player in football, and it's going to be a great conversation this offseason, like, is the best player in football title now Josh Allen's than Patrick Mahomes is? I'm not terribly interested in, like, doing that every time. Like, just about this game, he is a singular talent. 35 pass attempts, nearly 300 yards, then the 2 rushing touchdowns. He's just in control of everything. The numbers are great, and I could give you a million of them, but this is he just like lowers his shoulder into defensive players, linebackers, safeties, it doesn't matter, and he just meets them with force, and he gets hit, and he still throws it with force. He's like a polar bear with a cannon for an arm. Like, it's just a unique thing in the football ecosystem that he's so incredibly fun to watch. And that's why the analysis of, well, I mean, yeah, the Bills are flawed, but they got Josh Allen. I think it's actually pretty good analysis because they do have Josh Allen.
Yeah, when you have the best player remaining, you have the opportunity.
But that's more of a basketball point than a football point.
But when it's the quarterback, and when you look at the field and you look at the offenses that you're going to have to play, it's a very defensive strong field, especially in the AFC. When you look at the Steelers.
Sure, the gap between him and Bo Nix and all these guys, it's
But
massive.
what was so impressive to me was you go in, you lean into your run game, you have the rushing leader. Obviously, we know who Jacksonville are as it pertains to stopping the run. But you know the Bills still try to find a way to lean into it. They couldn't do it. This was the worst output that they have put out all season long. And typically when this happens, what do we see Josh Allen do? We see him put on a cape and try to be heroic. He didn't try to be heroic. He was very methodical. The level of execution and decision-making was at a premium. And this was an A-plus job of him not making mistakes to make it worse because they couldn't run the ball already. You knew your defense were getting stops. Josh Allen, this, in my opinion, was the best I've seen him in a postseason game in a long time.
Yeah, to be considered an elite quarterback, you got to be tough and you got to be able to close games. He did both in this game. I thought they knocked him around early. I thought they knocked him out, especially on that, the go-ahead run he ran when his knee got twisted up. I thought it was his ACL. But what you saw in the last minute of that game, it was like 2:26. He drives the team 66 yards, and I'm saying to myself, man, the ability to put on a cape is one thing, but there's another thing to have that killer instinct. And when you see it in one drive, it's impressive. And you got to understand, the Bills didn't want the tush push, right? This was the one team that stood on the table. They didn't want the tush push in the league anymore. And they said, you know what, we can't beat them, join them. And they pretty much rolled the Jaguars like cheap carpet. I think Josh Allen right now is playing at a level that it's not that we haven't seen it before. I think it's his will to win when everything else seems like it's deficient around him. You're talking about Khalil Shakur being his main target. You don't know which tight end is going to pop off the tape. You erase his run game in James Cook. The offensive line is getting beat up front. And he says, you know what? Hold my beer. I got it from here. And we've seen it week after week. I'm with you, DP. He's probably the best in the league right now.
Yeah, he's a crazy. I still would have had him kneel. I would have done it. I would have had him kneel, run down that clock, and then trust him to sneak it in later. Jacksonville's got one of the best kickers in the league. You gave him a minute left. I'm like, you scored too fast.
Can't play scared.
Look, I understand.
I think come on, McDermott. Come on, McDermott.
But you got a guy on the other side that hasn't proven that he can do it.
No, I know, but just
he messed that up.
Tick, tick, tick. The clock is your friend. I was like, you just kneel it one time. Time now for a little edition of He Said, We Said. The wild card weekend was spectacular. To put it another way, wild. Let's hear from some of the best sound from the weekend. Then we give you the analysis, you get it. First up, Greg, plug your ears. Jordan Love and Caleb Williams, they had different perspectives, believe it or not, on that second half comeback.
I think it's just a situation we put ourselves in, jumping out to a lead and doing what we wanted in the first half, and then second half kind of a completely different story.
It was it's the only option we had was to go out there and be legendary, to go out there and execute. They wanted us. That's what I heard. They wanted it, and they got it.
Whew. That is satisfying. Greg, would you like to try on my cheese grater?
No, I'm cool.
Sure?
Yeah, actually I would.
Yeah. No. All right. Well, sort of losing.
Harsh.
I will just say this.
Why would I not be a sore?
I'm a sore winner. The rivalries are good for sports.
Yes.
It is good that Ben Johnson said F the Packers and that he doubled down on it today. Like, less hate in the world, more hate in sports. Like, they wanted us, they got us, is what Caleb should say. And by the way, you guys can believe it or not, when Aaron Rodgers said, I own you, I was doing radio at the time, I said, I love it. Like, trash talk is good. It is good for sports if these teams genuinely do not like each other. And so it added to the moment of that. It was spectacular. I enjoyed every minute. I'm guessing you did as well.
Yeah, so obviously it pained me to watch that just complete debacle on the Green Bay side. But you're absolutely right. When you look at these two teams and this rivalry, this is fantastic. Now, I didn't like the result. However, if I close my eyes and I just think about what happened without the color of the jersey of the opponent that we were going up against, it was impressive. And they forced the Packers' hand. Like Caleb said, it was our only option. there's two different approaches that happened in that second half. It was one team that was playing to protect the lead, and rightfully so, I get that. And another team that was like, at all costs, we have to go and get it. And that's exactly what they did. Dennis Allen pressured, ratcheted it up. In the second half, you saw Jordan Love get uncomfortable and didn't have the guys running free the way that he did in the first half. So, look, man, it was a great game. Didn't like the output because I'm biased. I'm on the Packers side of things. But too many mistakes by the Packers, and in the Bears' defense, they forced a lot of those mistakes.
Yeah, listen, the Packers going cold in the second half was jarring, but I thought one guy that stood out was Colston Loveland, man. He had a monster game.
You think?
Eight receptions for 133
You think they should have guarded him?
I mean, he was a menace in the middle of the field. And you understand, he was running those isolation routes. Those isolation routes go to him, right? They go to your receiver number one. He became the receiver one, that alpha dog, and I thought he was the security blanket for Caleb. He was the engine that drove that offense. He was everything.
Was he their number one option? Oh my gosh, who knew?
And so when I talk about everything, that's it
was disgusting to watch because it's like, can you guard this guy?
They couldn't.
I'm sorry.
Let's move on. Drake May, that win was a win without his best performance, which, hey, is a skill in and of itself. Take a listen.
Finally got one in the end zone, but I missed hoop on a touchdown. Had some other guys that I feel like I missed pop on a third down low, and just it wasn't my best tonight. But hey, that's why you have teammates and those guys pick me up, and never lost confidence. Everybody's got that's the thing about us. We spread it around and can do a lot of things.
Yeah, style points don't really matter in the playoffs if you win. And Drake May, we know he's awesome. And also, I will say the Chargers' pass defense. I was doing it on the stats and pack stats and everything leading into the week. Chargers' pass defense is really good. Best passer rating against of any defense since 2012. So, the fact that they held Drake May under all of his averages and made him struggle wasn't surprising to me. I thought the Chargers were going to give him more. But Drake May having a pedestrian game but still winning, he should be happy about it because it'll probably be easier for him going forward.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if the Chargers' offensive line was that bad or if the Pats' defense had arrived. Their
offensive line is that bad.
But it was a sense where I was like, man, late in this game and when things seemed like they were getting out of hand, I really wanted them to pull Justin Herbert because I'm like, you're not only going to lose this game, but you may not have him from next season. Like that hit he took when he flopped back like a dummy. Yeah. I said you may lose him for next season.
That was a big one.
It was brutal. But I also look at this Patriots team. You got to give credit to Mike Vrabel, man. They play like how he played. I played against Mike Vrabel. He was disciplined. He was tough. He was scrappy. He talked a whole lot of junk, and he backed it up. They play exactly like this. And there's not a lot of stars on this Patriots defense, but it felt like they arrived watching this game, man. They're talking about flat out getting after Herbert. They mixed up the stunts. They were doing everything they wanted to dictate the game, and they played on their terms, man. So credit to the Pats, man. They're moving on.
Yeah, there was so much talk about who they hadn't played, the weakness of their schedule, the lack of opponents, all those things. And you have a player's coach and a head coach that has been through it, knows how to communicate that to his team. You heard Caleb Williams say they wanted us, they got us, we got them. Well, there was talk that the Chargers want them.
Yeah.
And they
did that
want
with their actions more than their words.
Absolutely. And when you feel that type of way, you communicate to your outfit, and they go out and play that way. I felt like they actually looked really good defensively, and offensively, I don't think there could have been a better scenario for Drake May where he struggled. You see some issues, some lows in his game, and he has some adversity, if you will, and he has to overcome it. And he did. And he started to settle into the game in the second half and make some of the throws that we became accustomed to seeing all season long. I thought this is exactly what you want in a first playoff game for your
Herbert going 1 for 10 on third down I was like, just get him off the field.
I mean, you talked about receivers in the Eagles game.
Going 1 for 10 was.
The Chargers offense, 1 for 10 on third down, 1 for 3 on fourth down, 160 passing yards. They were terrible. Patriots, though, you like their defense. They get the winner of Steelers-Texans, not an explosive offensive unit that they're going to get on either side of it. So if you think they've actually arrived, it's a pretty good draw for the Patriots.
I mean, there's one name that pops off the tape, on the Patriots defense, and that's Christian Gonzalez. He got hurt that game.
Yeah, the concussion.
But now you're talking about Milton Williams, Barmore. You're talking about this collectively as a unit. They got after the Chargers to the point it looked like they wanted to tap. They could have tapped. They would have tapped. But they couldn't because, we got TV rights. You got to keep playing.
Yeah, it's 60 minutes, right?
Exactly.
You got to play all 4 quarters.
Baby.
I've heard that. Willie Steelers tonight against the Texans. Aaron Rodgers shot at pulling off that upset. We'll get into it coming up on the OT.
Can he do it again?
I like the arrival videos because it's like a way to take attendance. Aaron Rodgers, he showed up. He's going to be at the game tonight. Shades, hoodie, backpack. It's a good look.
Good sign for the Steelers.
Right? It's one of the first things. Like, is the quarterback here? Okay, he is. Check. Willie, confidence level? Where we at?
What do you want me to say? When you ask me questions like this, I get annoyed because what do you want me to sit here and bash my Steelers? I feel like we got the better quarterback, the better number 1 receiver. We got an offensive line that's going to be ready to fight. A defense who I feel after there's been so much talk about this Houston Texans defense, this is a call to action for our defense. Show up, get it done. We don't lose on Monday night. We beat the Texans. Take your barbecue and send it back to Houston.
I heard you say the better quarterback, better number 1 receiver. Did you say better defense? You didn't say that part?
You want me to say it out loud?
Say it with your chest.
I'll say it.
I mean, because it didn't sound like you said it.
You listen to stats, I go by feel.
The eye test is my thing, okay? The eye test is my thing. And I would say, you made me feel like, that expression, there's no such thing as a stupid question. And maybe me asking you how you felt about the Steelers ahead of tonight. Maybe a stupid question. I will say this. Rodgers is playing the best football of his season late, which is a good sign. Like, it's a weird thing. I trust Aaron Rodgers more than C.J. Stroud, which speaks to how shaky C.J. Stroud has been. But I do think the Texans' defense has just been
legit.
It's just been better. And I think the thing that they are best at is the thing that Aaron Rodgers doesn't want, generating quick pressures. Like, Will Anderson is one of the best quick pressure guys in the league. Mm-hmm. And so Rodgers is a big snap and throw guy. I don't love the matchup for Rodgers, who clearly doesn't want to get hit.
And you don't love the matchup for C.J. Stroud, especially if we start blitzing him.
I expect it to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, and they can bring pressure without or they can get pressure without bringing pressure. That's the part that's exciting if you're that defense. And then they got the guys on the outside that can match up with you in the secondary. But this is going to be.
You talking about the Texans?
I'm talking about the Texans.
Oh, do you know who T.J. Watt is?
T.J. Watt?
Alex Highsmith?
I'm going to say.
Like you're talking about. I just want to clarification because we do have edge rush.
I mean, you can say the same thing. It's going to be a very low-scoring game.
I'm just saying.
We'll see tomorrow on the OT. And I'm joining Wake Up Barstool. Big Cat asks, I show up. Talk to you tomorrow morning.
Let's go, Steelers.